Welcome to the RDB podcast with your hosts, Superfly, John Lee, the podcast god, and a special shout out to our boys, Appalachian Mountain Wrestling, Ultimate Championship Wrestling, Triple Crown Wrestling. Now, I give it to our special co-host tonight, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ray Bear Steele.
Yes. We got a big show tonight. You know, this whole month has been just action-packed, and tonight, you know, we got In the House. We got Chucky Smooth there as another guest.
Don't get no better than that.
Just kind of hanging and banging because tonight is about a big part of MWA, which is NWF, and two NWF legends in the house. We got Angel, and we got Rob the Bob Williams. And we just want to start off, let them intro and let us know how you got into the business and all the deal. You know, let's get it.
All right, cool. Hey, Rob Williams here, from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I grew up a wrestling fan, man. I grew up watching it. My first memories as a kid was going to Cincinnati Gardens and watching Pompiro Firpo and those guys, man. And it's something I always wanted to do. And, told my family, hey, this is what I want to do. And they're like, you're always going to be too small. It's never going to happen. Not going to happen. But back then, man, you didn't have the internet. You didn't know where to find wrestling schools and that sort of thing. So it was a pipe dream. Like, how do I get in there? And then I went to a gym, Harrison Health and Fitness, and I saw a poster for a wrestling school. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna call and get some information. So I called, talked to a guy named Johnny Diamond, who actually owned the NWF at the time. And I could tell the guy just didn't seem to have it all together. And he invited me to a show in Fairfield, Ohio. So I showed up. Went to the Bearfield, I'm sorry, Bearfield. But for those Cincinnatians, it's Fairfield. But but yeah, the card was stacked. It had Rick Martel, it had Greg Valentine, it had Road Warrior Hawk, and it was a study cast. And the announcer was this long-haired guy, looked like an 80s rocker. I dug it, and it was. Come to find out later, it was Slick Rick. It was Slick Rick's debut ring announcing, right?
Wow.
So then at intermission, I found Johnny Diamond, and God rest his soul. But for those of you guys who have met Johnny Diamond, he just wasn't all there. Am I lying?
He's crazy doing that shit house rat. I've heard stories.
So I'm like, man, no disrespect, but I'm not going to pay this guy to train me. So I just went on about it. And then a few years later, I think 2 years after that, I saw a flyer for a show at Salvation Army in Price Hill. So I went to that show, and there was a guy sat in front of me, long hair, kind of biker-looking guy, and we watched the show, and they're like, "Hey, we've got a wrestling school right next door. It's called Bone Crushers. We train on, I think at that time it was Wednesdays and Saturdays." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna go check this out." I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my wife at the time. And I went to that ring, or went to the school and saw the ring, and I met Roger Ruffen. Come to find out, Johnny Diamond was there, and he owned the school, but Roger Ruffen was the main trainer.
Right.
So I met Roger, talked to him, and I was like, man, I'm all in. And I'd actually met Big Joe Davis prior to that, and he told me, hey, if you want to learn, Roger Ruffen's your guy. But I didn't know how to get a hold of Roger Ruffen. I didn't know anything about him. So when I finally met him, I'm like, yeah, this is it, man. And signed up, and kind of the rest was history. And then I trained for a month, so it was like June 4th when I started. July 13th, I missed that practice because it was the birth of my twin daughters. It was the first practice that I missed. And a buddy of mine that was he was a wrestling fan, but he didn't want to get in the wrestling business, but he went to Bone Crushers during that session. And then after, my babies were born and went home, and my buddy called me, he goes, hey, man, there was a new student at Bone Crushers. He's like, he's kind of a biker-looking guy, but he's got something. He's really good. I think that you guys would do really well when you eventually get to wrestling. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, and dismissed it. Then I showed back up at practice that Wednesday, and then I met this guy, Angel, and completely different backgrounds, man, but we just hit it off right from the start. There was chemistry there right from the beginning, man. And before you know it, we were partying. We'd go to training, and we'd party afterwards, and we had some crazy times. We talk about what kind of pro wrestlers we were going to be, and this and that, and it just right from there. We were like peanut butter and jelly, man, and kind of that was how I got started.
It's going to be 30 years. What, next year?
Yeah, it'll be 30 years. It'll be 29 years next
29,
year. Yes, yes.
We've known each other for 29
years. 29 years, yeah. So we started training together, and we were dead set that I was going to be the pretty boy baby face. He was going to be the nasty mean heel. And it's funny how it started that way, and then we completely flipped. And so we got a lot of great memories. And we always wanted to work with each other when we wrestled. And Roger Ruffen, it's like he had a crystal ball. We wanted it so bad. He's like, no, I'm going to keep these guys separate. Yeah. So when they finally get together, something's going to happen. Although we did have our first match together in Williamstown. Yeah, we were the curtain jerkers for that.
It was
we
a main
did
event.
everything
It was a
we
main
knew
event
to do.
match, and everybody was like, "Well, how are we going to follow that?"
Right.
Yeah,
we were like, "We don't care."
First match, we did everything
We do
we
not
learned how
care.
to do, man. Everything. It was in Williamstown.
Me and Justin did that at BBW, or what was it?
Was that in Indiana?
Bad the Bone. Whatever.
Yeah, BBW.
Yeah. We did that. They put us on opener. Me and Justin Idol. Then dude comes to us is like, y'all could be a little stiffer. And I'm like, I mean, y'all wrestle both of us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it ain't light.
Yeah.
Oh, we would kill
So
each
what about
other in
you, brother?
training.
How'd you get in?
Oh man, pretty much
What'd
the
you do?
same.
Same.
Yeah. I did some of the tough man contest up in Cincinnati, where you go on a
Tough
Saturday
squats
night.
contest.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
had
go out on
an
a Saturday
advantage.
night, get drunk on draft beer, and you get in one of those pyramid system things, and you all get in the ring, and you just one at a time just beat the heck out of each other, you know. So I did that a couple times and didn't make any money, didn't win anything, but quickly figured, heck, I can make it to like maybe second or third round pretty good before I'm too drunk and I just, ain't worth a crap anymore. So I just started doing jobs and betted on myself, made some money, and next thing you know, I'm down at Bone Crushers, wanting to learn how to be a professional wrestler. Met Rob, actually met you at the Salvation Army.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I said the long-haired biker guy sitting in front of me, we didn't know each other, but it ended up being him. Yeah. Right? We were at the same show, man. What kind of fate is that, right?
Wow.
Tuffy Jr. says, "What's up, guys?"
What's up,
What's
Tuffy?
up,
We love you,
Tuffy?
dude. Sorry we missed you yesterday. Wish you were here.
So, what I talked about last week was the bringing NWF and MWA together. And I talked about the styles. And, I mean, honestly, to me, you guys, Justice, Cat, y'all are hybrids. Y'all are half of each.
Yeah.
Because to me, a true NWF guy, and this is what I said, and it's no knock. Like I said last week, you will never meet an NWF guy that can't work.
Yep.
What I think they lack is working the people. And MWA's the opposite. We may not be able great technician wrestlers, but we work the shit out of people. So that mesh, but you guys were a hybrid because you could do both.
We wanted to do both.
But the typical, guys, they talk in the ring and they can work. Jay, all them guys can work, but they didn't spend a lot of time on it. Like Kurt cut my song in half because I spent so much time out there with the people.
Yeah.
So that's what I had said about things. So what is your interpretation of the mesh of the two?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we got our start in NWF, but really we cut our teeth at MWA because as we started training, so the guy that owned the building where the wrestling school was, he started letting his ego kind of get out of control, and then he split with Roger. So then while we were still in training, we were starting to have some matches, but we were still technically in training. Yeah. And we lost the school, right?
Yeah.
Prior to just losing the school, probably 2 weeks before we lost the school, we rode down to Georgetown with Prince Justice and Wildcat Chris Harris. And those guys have about a year or so, maybe a little bit longer. They started before we did. And they had gotten on the show in Georgetown because of Ivory Nichols. Ivory Nichols, I don't know if you all know him.
Yeah.
Great worker, but he was out of Dayton, Ohio. So he paved the way for Chris Harris and Justice. And then those guys took us down to Georgetown to check it out. So
And at this time, it's hot.
it's hot. It's on
hot.
fire, man. It's on fire. And
It's unbelievable. You
the
can't describe it.
No, the energy was just unbelievable. So we went through the front door. We bought tickets, and we sat on opposite sides of the audience because we knew eventually we were going to be working with each other, right? That was our dream.
You sat on the face side, and I sat on the heel side.
Yep. And during the show, so we watched. We just sat out with the fans and we watched. And we were always like giving each other the eye, like, "Yep, okay, we got this." And then after the show, we went outside to meet Justice and Kat. And Danny Fargo came out, and he met us. And he started talking about all the history that came through there. And he was talking about like Dustin Rhodes and the Poffos and Savage and all those guys who'd been through Georgetown.
Which is shoot.
Dude, my eyes like lit up. I'm like, holy shit, like this is like a legacy here, and we got to be part of this. So he's like, if you guys are interested, come down next week. Bring your stuff and come down next week. So we did, and that's how we got. So we weren't finished technically training, but we got our training in the ring because we could work every Sunday in Georgetown. So it was OJT on the job training for us, man, and we caught up quick.
Same.
So that's where we're kind of that hybrid. We're the mesh between the NWF and NWA or MWA because we learn from both, right? So that's why it was like that, and we learned how to get heat. We learned how to get sympathy and all that stuff as a babyface.
Right.
So,
See, I was the opposite. I had all that. Well, not baby. You know, I was never babyface.
You're always a babyface.
When I went to NWF, I got polished.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to work. I couldn't just beat and knock. Like I had dude, them guys could go.
Yes.
Like, they could all go. So you had to learn how to work.
Yep.
And you couldn't stiff them. They was kind of whiny, you know. Some of them, you know.
Yeah.
You remember?
You
Beach,
came, I will say
Beach's super kick got outlawed.
you kind of came in during the next round of NWF guys.
Right.
So there was us and some other guys.
Right.
The Beach, Jason Cross, some of those Nick Rivers. Those guys were coming in a little later.
Oh my God.
Yo, Beach has always been stiff. Absolutely.
But great worker.
Yeah.
Awesome worker.
Yeah, we love you, Beach, but you're a stiff fuck.
Yeah.
His super kick got.
I've
Roger
always
would not
said
let him
Beach
use
this
it.
guy ever worked.
At the Madison Theater,
He's snug.
Beach comes to me and Justin. He goes, "Hey man, I know it's funny and stuff, but y'all really got to quit ribbing me about stiffing people." I said, "Bro, we're not ribbing you about stiffing people." And he goes, "Cause Fargo just banned my super kick." You know, I mean not Fargo. Roger just banned my super kick. I said, "You shitting me?" He said, "No, for real, I can't use it in the match."
Wow.
Donnie Green said, "What's up, guys?"
What's up, Donnie?
What's up,
How are you,
Donnie?
brother?
Brian Beach never stiffed me.
I mean, he's
You must not have worked with him then.
his
Nah,
head
probably
was
not.
still ringing.
I worked him a few times in Georgetown at the flea market.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Brian had a lot of potential, man. I think he was one of the guys we kind of took under our wing because he was like the next round of guys coming up. And, I took him to Sturgis. We did a show during the bike rally in Sturgis in 2022 or 2002. I took him out there. It was kind of the first time he'd been out there. And, he was a good worker. Jason Cross, really good worker. There was a lot of good workers that came. Those guys could move.
Yeah.
But that was almost kind of the transition of going from bigger guys, because I was a small guy and the whole time I was there, starting out. But then those guys came and they were even smaller, but then they were more athletic. So that was really the onset of that more high flying style.
Right.
Yeah, those two were the biggest ones out of the whole group.
They
that
were
second group.
Yeah, I think so too. With the exception of a couple here and there.
Right.
Alcatraz and those guys.
Oh
right?
yeah, big old pot belly.
But so there was a totally different generation. I'd say one thing we learned in MWA, because in NWF we were planning our matches out, right? Everything was, this is what we're going to do, and that was our style. But then we started going to MWA and working with some of the old timers, and then everything is on the fly. So that was baptism under fire for us, and we're like, cool. That's
when we were
cool,
learning.
Man. Absolutely.
That's when we were learning.
So I'd like to think that once again we're one of the last generations to be part of that learned how to walk and talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Had to.
everybody else was now I will say I preferred to call everything in the back because I like the smooth match.
I like to talk certain things over,
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 things, but then ad lib some.
Yeah. I mean, you got to listen to the people. That's one thing.
Right.
Yeah, you
We would plan exactly what we were going to do, but we could call it on the
audible.
fly. If they weren't buying it, we weren't going to try to get our shit in. We were going to call the audible. But I'm very fortunate that we kind of grew up in that time that we learned both ways.
We can get an opener and get a finisher together and rest is fucking.
Yeah.
Plus we separate locker rooms.
Yes.
Separate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
We
people
had
Yeah.
that
Some of the
in
shows.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
God, that's rough.
Yeah.
He's trying to talk or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I remember when me and Big Sue, I think it was Mount Sterling with Fargo.
Mount Sterling at first was separate locker room.
Yeah, and we were working with the Bushwhackers. Yeah, I think it was the Bushwhackers for a 4-day run.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is like the first big guys I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And Sue was just sitting there like, oh yeah, it's all right, it's all good. I'll start.
Shout out to Sewer Slime.
Yeah, wherever he's at. And
That cat's another cat. There's a different kind of
the
cat.
ref came over and said, hey, Luke said just listen to him in the ring. And we're like, oh, okay, no problem. So we're going to call it in the ring. Sue was like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm scared to death. Yeah, I grew up watching these guys. They're kind of my idols. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I'll open it up. Just, relax and get familiar with it. So we go to the ring. We're both in the ring and stuff. And he gets out. And I'm sitting there looking. I turn around, and I'm going to get out. I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be in here. He's like, nope, it's all you. And I turn around, and there's both of them. I'm just like, oh, man. He just smacked me on the back and just kind of pushed me out there.
Oh, shit.
That's all she wrote.
Right.
Walked and talked, and everything was great.
Yeah, you was in for the ride.
Yeah.
He knew you could handle it.
Yeah.
The very first night that we were in Georgetown, and we were always taught that by Roger, because Roger's the best trainer out there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But you just always say yes to the booker, yes, and got it, and you go on.
Yep.
So first night in Georgetown, I was opening match with Terry Allen, and Fargo came up to me and he says, "Okay, you're all going 10-minute Broadway." Yes, sir. Got it. I had no idea what a Broadway was. I was like, all right, got it.
I've been there.
Yeah, all right.
I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know what nothing was.
yeah, I went and I think I found Justice. Hey, man, what the hell's a Broadway? And he smartened me up, and I was like, okay, got it. But it was just, I remember that was my very first show in Georgetown, man. Do you remember who you worked with?
No, I don't.
A lot of chair shots over the years.
Yeah, drank the
We could
Bobby
probably
Blades.
find it on one of these.
Oh,
That's
Bobby,
true.
Bobby Blades page. He's got everything.
Rated X is tuning in as well.
What's up, X?
And Tuppy Jr. had a question for both of y'all. He said, what was one moment in y'all's career that you told yourself you'd never forget about?
Wrestling Tuffy.
The pile of shit you look for the owner of the damn baseball or soccer complex.
Can you expand on that a little bit, Chuckles?
Funny rib. We were doing a show. I think it was at the. It's like a Florence. It was like a baseball soccer complex, and
Shit
we
on
were in
the
the
floor.
back, and
You
I had
shitted on the
a.
floor.
I had
You
a.
shitted on the floor.
No, it was fake rubber poop.
Oh, okay.
Chuckles shit on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it looked just like it. I mean, I swear, it's identical. And I put it on. I had put it on Playboy's bag, and it got to the back. You know how Playboy's, he kind of get in his face, and we laughed about it or whatever. So Rob takes the pile and puts it in front of the owners of the whole building's office door. And we're just sitting in the back, and 2 minutes later, here he comes walking, dude. And he looks down, he goes, just shook his head, and he's over there like,
A lot of good laughs.
oh man,
a lot
I
of good laughs.
laughed. I mean, I still laugh about it, man. I
Lot of
laughed
good
my side hurt, man. We were in tears.
It was good.
That
Rowdy
man,
Red.
Rowdy Red.
That was
think
your
it was
that was your
Rowdy
first
Red.
match.
was your first match.
No,
That was my
Delayed
first one,
onset
but it was
there.
right around
That's
there.
Oh man, old Red.
Roddy Red.
I think
Sorry, I didn't mean it.
the
No,
one
you're
thing that
good, you're good.
the one memory I have that I'll never forget, because it was like it justified my whole journey, was eventually I ended up doing some jobs for WBE, and as I mentioned before, my family was like, you'll be too small, that that'll never happen, it's whatever, you're wasting your time. And then I was in a 6-man tag. It was Harris, Chris Harris, Doug Basham, myself against X Factor. It was Prince Albert, Justin Credible, and X-Pac. And we were the match right before Raw went live. Yep. So for me, I'd done other arenas in other cities, but it was coming out in U.S. Bank Arena, which is now the Heritage Center, in front of a sold-out crowd right before Raw went live.
Right.
And it was sold out. And I'm like, I made it, right?
Right.
Even though I wasn't under contract,
Yes.
I'm like...
Yeah. Walked out the curtain.
Screw everybody who said it couldn't happen, man. It was my hometown. So that, to me, that's my most special memory in the entire business that I was in. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Angel, what about you? You didn't answer the question. Or
I
was your
trying- I
answer
trying to
with
get
Rowdy
away
Red?
from When you put me through the table before I went to Alaska,
Yeah, that's a moment in time, man.
everybody, you stood over top of me,
Yep.
looking down, and everybody was just dead silent.
Silent. It was one of those.
You could
There
hear a
was
pin
no
drop.
noise, right?
No
It was like that
noise.
white heat because there was no
Yeah.
noise happening.
And then when you took your hood off,
Yeah.
the whole place just went.
Yeah.
Boom! Started throwing stuff. I mean, it was like a Road Warriors pop.
Yeah, it was
I
cool.
was just like, whoa! I'm just laying there looking at you like, no, that was good.
That was like when I started in NWF. I started fighting with a spoiler, so he was my first adversary. You know, shout out to Roger.
Yeah.
And
From Denmark.
And that had been going on for a while, and then I went off and I was kind of doing some other feuds and stuff like that. And then, as I said, like we always thought I would be the pretty boy baby face. He was going to be the mean nasty heel, and the crowd started really like reacting to him, right?
Oh, yeah, he was over.
So then it got to the point that I was getting beat downs, and he was coming out to save me. So then the crowd would really pop at that. So we were planting seeds along the way, and then there was a match where he was wrestling the spoiler, because the spoiler jumped me, and then he came out and made the save, and people went nuts. And then he was wrestling the spoiler. Then they did a gimmick where they fought all the way back to the locker room.
Yeah.
And then when they came back out fighting, Spoiler and I had switched, and I had the Spoiler outfit on. And then we did a couple things. I hit him with the chain, pulled a table out, and then I pile drove him through the table, and then I pulled the hood off, and the crowd just was silent. It was just
Right.
real. But that goes
And
back
bought
to
every bit of it.
Even my family, they're like, why would you do this?
Yeah, right.
And
Man, that was-
but at that time, I was one of the top baby faces in MWA too,
Right.
right? So we had to do it down there as well,
Right.
Because that was the time that Roger started kind of running the MWA. So we also had to do the turn in MWA as well.
Plus, we had
So-
like 20 people from MWA coming up, the Peels in
Oh, yeah.
Harrison.
Right, we had NWA
Every
people
people
coming, and then
followed,
Peels
yeah.
was going down to Georgetown. So then we started cross pollinating the crowds.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
You guys mentioned this guy before we went on air, Bobby Blade. He tuned in. He says,
Bobby Blade.
"Love both Angel and Rob. NDX for life."
Yes.
So hey, Bobby, we love you, man.
Love you, Bobby.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys ever to work with.
Yeah.
I love Bobby Blade, man. That dude was so talented, and I just never. I wish that he would have had a bigger run while we were there with us. But man,
he was my first run in MWA.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was always, you knew if your name was with Bobby, you were going to have a hell of a match and tear it down, dude. I love that guy, man.
That's how we feel every
was
time
in-
we have.
He is stiff. He's probably stiffer than Beach.
That's how I got to be stiff.
Would y'all
I
say
learned
that his elbow drop is the stiffest move that y'all ever took?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why Angel
think that
forgot
mullet-
some answers.
that mullet is stiff.
No.
Yeah.
Sam's chair shot.
Was stiff.
Brother, I'll never forget that. The day
Oh
I
man, Sam's chair
Sam's
shot.
chair shot, dude. It's like getting hit with a baseball bat. And I mean,
We
'cause
couldn't
he asked
see-
me,
he
he's
couldn't
like-
see. When you
he
were
was like,
there,
how
he
many
couldn't
would
see.
you take? And I've taken chair.
Yeah.
No, it was trash can. It was
Oh, okay.
two
Yeah.
I was like, I'll take 2 or 3. But he hit me at that first one. I was down. I did not look. I was not getting back up.
And then he's pummeling you.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
So
I
he
can't
starts
do
hitting
nothing.
me.
You're just hitting me like
And-
100
and
times.
Chris, they couldn't get Chris's music to play because Chris was the commissioner. He would come out.
Chris
and
Hayes,
talking.
yeah.
And so he just comes out. He said on the mic, he said, "I can't bear to watch it anymore," because I was dying, bro. Like like I'm in a fetal position, you know. And Sam's just, well,
Just way
well,
Yeah.
Everyone hurt. But no, I talked about you guys last week, and because we've been talking about this month and how good it's been and all the people we brought. So with Rob, I was just talking about. For Rob, I didn't work Rob a lot.
Yeah.
But he's surprisingly heavy
Yeah.
for how little he looked and solid.
Yeah.
And he's a shoulder punching mother.
Oh, dude.
I hit
Dude,
you in
he
the
hits you in
neck.
the same,
Yep.
same
More than neck,
spot.
man, in the
It'd be
neck.
one
Yep.
spot, it don't matter
Yep.
where it is. The whole match, he'll hit you in that spot. Then the next day, you'd be like, why's my neck so sore right there?
Wanted you to think
Because
about
it
me,
was
man.
that one, I mean, just like
Yeah.
that flick in the same spot.
Yep.
But, I mean,
Yep.
of course, Duke could work it and all that. But then we was talking about, I said, Angel was my favorite person to work that wasn't somebody I worked on a normal basis.
Yeah.
And we just clicked. Like, dude, we had
That first time.
yes, and we worked the owners, we worked the workers, we worked the people, we worked everybody. They
It's all
wanted
the
us
work,
to
brother.
They wanted us to start a feud,
Yep.
Yep.
and so we went out back. You know us.
Mhm, Yep.
So
Yep.
we're out back
Yep.
talking Georgetown, and we were like, "Fuck it, let's don't tell nobody nothing. Let's go out here." and start working a little bit, then get into a fist fight. Like
Just break kayfabe and just go for it.
Start. And you know, if you say, "Hey, Angel, I want to fist fight you," it's a fist fight.
Yeah,
so then we're flogging.
Yeah.
I mean, he jacks my jaw, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and we're going at it. And dude, Payne's dad was one of the owners, and he looks like he's going to stroke out.
No kidding.
The boys hit the ring, and it wasn't scheduled to go down that way.
Yeah.
Like they think we're fighting, and I'm like, you know, we're using language like, I ain't coming back if that motherfucker say blah 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 blah. Oh, you want to go next week? We'll go one more time next week. And then they end up, we did like 2 and they shut down.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so hot though. Like everybody bought it.
Yeah, we killed it, man.
Like Al
Killed
was
the town.
calling,
Killed the
like,
town.
man,
Killed the town.
Al's like, man, what we gonna do, man?
Yeah.
Like he, you know, that's all our friends, and I was
sucks,
like, fuck,
yeah.
you know, at the time, I'm like, fuck that motherfucker, fuck
yeah,
him.
yeah.
I'll grab his goddamn hair again, like, you know, because I grabbed a whole handful, man. And he's hitting me, and I mean, like, we're going at it,
He
bro.
liked to work
I
that
think,
way.
I think we locked up, and I think we did something. I pushed you off. I said, dude, and I yelled at you,
And you
stop being
smack-
so stiff.
Right.
And we did it again. I said, dude,
Lighten
lighten
up.
up. And I just went wham, and that was it. And then you just came back, and everybody just, it was like a free
Dude,
for all.
they all bought into it.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Oh, wow.
promise you, nobody in the building believed that.
Locker room sellout.
Right.
Yep.
And they actually wasn't going to let us come back. That's what it was. They wasn't going to let us wrestle again next week. You remember? Because
That's right,
they
yeah.
thought we got in a real fight, like
Yeah.
shoot fight. They was like,
They're
no,
gonna try to
no,
keep us away.
we're going to trade that. We're going to change that.
Yeah.
I was like, no, we ain't scared.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Let them have it.
But they ended
Yeah.
up, it was like 2 weeks before they ended up shutting down, you
Yeah.
know. But no, it was super hot. It was great, man. But, when we wrestled, it was just like a flow. But
Yeah.
the funny thing, man, you be wrestling, and all of a sudden you start. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? So I put my knee back in. I'm like, bro, we need to go home. No, I'm good. Just give me a minute.
I'm going to take a powder.
I'm like, you're putting your knee back in,
He
bro?
wore those heavy ass
I
boots,
know,
man.
Yeah.
He wore those heavy
I
ass
swear he
biker
was
boots.
going. He was going. I said,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
They
So
were
I
for
put my
real
knee
motorcycle
in.
boots. They were real
Yeah.
motorcycle
yeah.
I
boots.
mean, they had diamond plated on them, man. And then he got to this point where he was doing a spin wheel kick, man, and
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
It was like I'm just going in the airborne, and I don't know where it's going to land. And you would see this 260-pound just ass, and then all of a sudden you see that diamond plate coming right for your face.
I
It's
mean,
like,
it was-
here it
Never
is,
got-
man. Here it is. Yeah, it was good
But
stuff.
no,
though,
man, you just mess with some people.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not
Oh, yeah.
taking anything away from anybody. I work
Right,
great
right.
matches with great people, but when you get in there and you're just flowing,
There's-
I mean, the first time we worked, we never met.
Yeah.
Anything. We go out here, man, and it's like, damn, man, you know.
There's
just,
people like that, man. You just have that chemistry,
Right.
man. You just do, and that's
We just
And-
felt comfortable.
yeah,
camaraderie.
yeah, absolutely. Bobby Blade was one of those guys
Yeah.
for me. Vic the Bruiser was another guy for me,
Vic,
man.
yeah.
You know, there's so many guys. just
We've
have
even
that-
had
that
Vic the
chemistry.
Bruiser in here.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
love Vic,
Oh,
man. I love that
He
guy.
would come, man.
I
Vic-
love that guy.
Vic's a great guy, man.
Yeah, Vic is the nicest person
And
Oh, I
I've
he's
love
just
ever
a
him.
met.
mountain of knowledge. I mean, he just
Vic
I mean,
the Bruiser, if you're out there, I love you, man.
He's been everywhere.
Yeah, he
You know,
has.
he's done it
He
all.
has.
Keenan H. Morrison said, Greg Harris, the myth, the man, the legend.
Who's that?
Greg
Keenan
Harris.
H. Mazian.
Greg Harris.
Oh, that's me.
That's that one guy.
Yeah.
Michael
Oh,
Michael
no.
China, he
I tell
said,
you what else is effed up is them damn snot rockets.
Oh, dude. Oh.
So, dude, because I'm bad. Like,
Yeah.
I'll puke on it like
Oh,
that.
really?
Dude, I watch you get that.
That's why we didn't work together very
Right,
much.
dude.
Yeah.
So, one time, I think Continental, and that's when you took my tooth.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, you took my tooth.
I'm sorry, man.
Took my
I'm
tooth.
sorry. Was it
Well,
the snot
I never.
rocket that did it?
No,
You-
no.
Okay.
So,
Still- still
to
snot
that
rocket.
point, like I said, we weren't real polished.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do his spinning, and look, don't forget, at this time he's a little heavier. I didn't get the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
I got this guy. So he's wanting to do that tornado DDT. Well, I didn't know in the tornado DDT that you take the flip up bump. I'm just used to dropping, you let go. Oh no, he's locked, bro.
yeah.
So he drops, and I go flat.
Oh.
Dude, he just went. I was like,
Oh.
it's like I think I chipped my tooth. But
Glad I didn't get that
it didn't
bill.
look bad, you know,
Yeah.
it was a good match.
Yeah.
It was just, I had never taken it.
Yeah.
And then I took it that way, and I was like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
once I done
It's
it.
easy, but I lost a tooth in the meantime.
Right,
Yeah,
I had
yes,
to do it
yeah.
twice to get it, because
Yeah.
then Scott did it, and I tried the handstand deal, and it worked good. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh. it wouldn't hurt so bad if I did it right. But no, I think that's the only time we ever worked.
Probably so.
Was
Probably
that
so.
Continental?
Yeah, because I had already retired.
Right.
And then
you
I came back for a
yeah.
couple shots down there. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Who's that? Is that
Virus.
So when we came,
who is it?
Virus.
Oh, okay.
when they brought all of us to MWA, there was a transition period, but there wasn't with you guys.
Yeah.
We were the same.
Yeah.
Like, oh, y'all going out? Oh, you ever been to Justin's? Come on over. You know, so like,
Yeah.
not everybody was the same.
Yes. Yep.
It was you,
Yes.
you guys, Justice, Cat, every now and then would
Yeah.
come. But the other guys were, you know, they didn't do the same things we did. They went out and did things that just wasn't the same.
Right. It was.
Wasn't
We're
fun.
going out
Yeah.
and getting drunk and fighting,
I mean, for us, it
waking
was.
up wherever, like,
We
you know.
were living the gimmick, man.
Right.
We were
That's right.
traveling. At one point, we were doing five shows plus a week, man, and it was traveling, hit the gym, do the show, and then you go out and party, and you're not going back to the hotel room till 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you know, and then you get up and do it all again, man. So that was the life. I don't know if I'd still be alive if I was trying to do it much longer.
You know what I will say about our group, though? In our group, we're no serious drug users. You know what I mean? Like
No.
in our little circle that we drink, we party, but we wasn't there wasn't nobody we trained, but he
Yeah.
was already there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When we met
yeah,
him, he
yeah.
was already there.
Yep.
But like our guys didn't fall into that, even though
No.
we were doing all the traveling, we didn't do all the heavy shit that all the guys were doing. You
Yeah,
know?
like
You know, we just like to
nobody was
party,
into the
you know.
somas and
No.
all that stuff, man. It
we
was
just
it was camaraderie. You know,
right.
that's
It's like a cookout.
Yeah,
Like you go
yes.
to a cookout with each other because we just all hit it off. We weren't that far apart
Yep.
that we couldn't hang out.
right.
Right.
And we always, if y'all were down, y'all would stay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't, and we just hit it. We just all hit it off so good, man.
Oh, yeah.
It just made every Sunday, every Saturday great. Man, 'cause
Absolutely.
you got to see you guys.
It was a whole lifestyle, man. You know, it was one of those things. I know nowadays they play video games and do that kind of stuff. Yeah. We wouldn't be caught dead playing video games after a show, man. We were out. I mean, there was a show in
We were asking during the show, hey, where's the hole in the walls?
Yep.
Where's the
Yeah.
spots?
Where's the after party?
Right.
Yeah.
Where do we go?
there was a night at the Georgetown Convention Center that I was wrestling Suicide, and he was one of my favorites too, man. Him and I because he was a big guy, he could catch me, and I could do all that stuff. And I went to do a cross body off the top rope to him on the floor. Well, the ropes were sagging. I couldn't get my footing. And then right when I finally got it, he was trying to overcompensate and come in for me, and I jumped and I overshot him, right? And he reaches up to grab me to try to help break my fall, and when he reaches up, he grabs my ankles. So then I do a nosedive onto the concrete. I landed like this on concrete, and then so I went back and I get up, and then I see there's a pool of blood, and I roll back in. I was like, man, let's finish, because I knew I was bleeding pretty bad, and rolled in and did the finish, and we went back. I sat back there and tried to get the blood to stop, let the show finish.
Yeah.
And then at that time, like our ritual was we finished Georgetown and we went back to Peel's, the bar, and we hung out till 3, 4 because we knew the owners, they would let us stay there till like 3 or 4. So busted head, and then I kept my tape on my hand, and my hand started swelling up almost like a catcher's mitt. But went to Peel's, we hung out, partied, had a good time, and then when everybody went home, I went to the hospital to go get stitched up, and I was like, hey, I think I need some stitches, and my wrist hurts. So they stitched me up. Then the x-rayed, I had 3 breaks in my wrist.
Yeah.
But you know what? That all can wait.
to the bar
I had to go
first.
hang with my boys. You
That's
know what I
what we
mean?
did,
Yes,
man.
that was it, man.
Yep.
That was it.
And that's really what we showed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because we didn't realize that till we got there.
yeah.
You thought you were going to be this big wrestler and do this thing, but then when you meet these guys who are your family now, your brothers, like,
That's
you're
it.
just like, dude, it's
Who we got here? We got Donnie Green in the house.
He's here because I don't like fuck. Stiff. You talking about a stiff fucking prick?
What are you talking about?
I like your hair though.
Oh, yeah, looking good.
Just
Do that
me.
George Clooney.
You're pulling it off. You look
I
better than
was gonna
George.
say it. I was gonna right before you said it, I was gonna say you look just like George.
I mean, you got the Patrick Swayze thing going.
I do. I mean, I always had. They thought we were kin.
You get free Tana visits to Sunset City.
You know that's right.
I can tell.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
I was at the kids' football game and I was driving back watching it on the. As I'm driving, on the internet, I was like,
Oh,
shit,
man.
I'm just gonna whip through, man,
Yeah.
and holler at the guys. So.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was talking about them snot rockets, man. I had to work Rob, and I just watched him like legit, and so we was back there, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll blow the snot rocket." He said, "Don't worry, it's gimme, dude. I'll just slobber. It's not real snot." And I remember I'm watching a match, dude, and I was like, that didn't come out of his fucking mouth. This dude just blew snot all over this cat. And like, this dude's like laying there looking up, and he's just like, so Rob, he gives me the big bump, and he comes over to do it, and I just rolled in my stomach. And I'm like, you can blow snot on my back, bro. And he kept trying to roll me over, and I just rolled back to my stomach. I was like, fuck that, you don't blow snot.
Face me, Donnie.
Look
Look me in the eye when they give you a snot rocket.
Dude, why'd you keep rolling over? Motherfucker, you keep blowing snot on me, man.
Well,
And I never got to work Angel, and I always wanted to. I never got to work him. It never met.
yeah,
So I always hated not getting to work him, but
you missed out then.
yeah.
But I started doing once I became a heel, bad guy. It was like, what is like one of the most disgusting things that are just the low of lows? And I was like, I'll just blow snot on people, right?
Yeah.
And it got some heat. It made
It got heat,
made the fans
sure.
mad, So
Every time Al would turn on me, he'd spit on me. Every fucking time, dude, he'd spit on me.
I will say Georgetown had some of the best heat out of any area that we worked, because it got to the point, like I said, we were working several nights a week, and Georgetown always had the heat, man. And I always tell the story about going down the aisle and a 70-something-year-old lady holding her grandbaby with a cigarette in her mouth and like a 6-inch ash, and she's just F you. And I was like, man, yes, you got him.
Yeah.
You got him. If you got grandma giving you the finger and cussing you out, it was unbelievable.
I
heat.
remember when we first come into Georgetown, you guys had already been there, you know. So, and I remember, like, we were working, but
Here comes Superman.
we just hadn't got to work for Chris yet, and I came and watched you guys work and stuff. So when we got there, man, I felt really intimidated when I got there. I was like, because you guys were fucking good. And then and then some of the newer guys that, like, Carl or Allegra and all them guys.
Chad Allegra and those guys,
They
Yeah.
were coming in, and those guys were good. And I was like, shit, man, listen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to step my shit up if I'm gonna fit in here,
Yeah.
And that was actually Allegra was the first guy I worked an angle with in Georgetown.
No kidding. Yeah.
We worked I bet we worked a 6-week angle, and I didn't win a match.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, never won a match. He beat me every week, and then I just beat him down after the match. Roger's like, yeah, after the match, put it to him.
Yeah.
But I would get so much heat. Roger was like, you don't have to win a match.
No.
Yep. You
He's
just get
like,
it back.
dude, you're getting all the heat you need. You don't
Just
even
get
need
it back.
to win a match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Jay Donaldson when he come through
Yeah.
there.
Jay's a great kid, man.
I didn't. I never won a match against either one of them guys.
I never cared about winning a match. I just wanted to get paid.
Yeah,
Get paid and go to the bar.
I can count on one hand how many matches I won at NWF.
Yeah.
I tell Roger.
How about as many as I wanted at the MWA?
Yeah, I tell Roger, like, I give you a libo count, buddy.
That's
Didn't
something.
he pay me?
That's
I
something
think
I
it was
hated, Chuck. I mean, when I had retired again, because I retired in 2002, then I came back for a couple shows at Continental, and then I retired again, and then Ainge went back into wrestling at the NWF, and then he won the title. And I remember I was at my grandmother's house, or my wife's grandmother's, and I got a call from Roger, like, hey, how do you feel about coming back for a couple shows? I'm like, no, I don't think so. He goes, well, it's with Angel, and I was like,
maybe.
I never had my last official match, so maybe. Yeah. So I'll do it. But by that time, man, I mean, our prime had passed, and so you came in, and I wish that version of Chuck had wrestled the 2001, 1999 version of Rob and Ainge. I really would have loved to have that opportunity to do that, because by that point we were just more of a nostalgia act, I think, and you know, we were like the NWF legends to come back, but we couldn't move like we did back in our younger days, you know. So but I hate that we didn't wrestle you while we were in our prime, but we still had some great matches, man, for sure.
We did the whole thing with me and Kahuna.
Yes, God rest his soul too, man.
Kahuna. Yeah, we had some good stuff at Shimmers and in Williamstown.
Great, man.
And you flipped me in a buckle and you stepped on my nuts.
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah.
Put you upside down the tree while we stepped on your nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that.
He did that to me in Continental. He's like,
Hey,
oh,
man, it's
he said
easy.
it's easy.
Yeah.
You don't love it.
It is easy.
He said it's great, too. He said, I'll put you up there and then I'm going to step on your nuts.
I'll take care of you.
Oh, man, that's exactly
like-
what I want.
You're like, yeah, you're right. That is easy. I like it.
And he really steps on your nuts.
Yeah. And then he grabs a hold of the top rope.
Yeah. Like, no.
Every time.
Take it home.
Straight shoot, bro. It's not a work.
It was great times, man. Yeah, it's just the MWA was it was magical, man. It really was.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. I used to love watching you guys. You and Kat,
Yep.
man, y'all would kill it.
Is that when we were on a team or we were against
Y'all
each
was
other?
against each other.
Oh, okay, cool.
I
Yes.
liked it when y'all were against each other.
Yeah. We had excellent matches together
'Cause
too,
I'm not
man.
a big babyface guy. Like I always like the heels. So when you two were feuding, that was the best.
It was good stuff.
'Cause
man.
y'all
It
was
good.
And I know you keep saying you don't get up and down, but you was moving, man. You two were getting up and down, and all the false finishes that y'all.
Oh,
played.
that was in our prime, though, man.
Yeah,
that was in our prime.
exactly.
Yeah.
But, man, you would have the crowd just all the false finishes, and that's something that we learned when we started working with you guys.
Yeah.
Is we never did all those false finishes.
Right.
before.
Sure.
We didn't know how to implement them in the matches,
Right.
and then after we started watching you guys, I said, we're like, shit, man. So then you learn how to get the crowd on the edge of the chair.
Yeah.
And it's all psychology at that point, right?
Well, we had none until we started working for Chris.
Yeah.
And I remember having a match, and I could hear Chris in the back screaming.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You know, and I'm like, what the hell is he so mad about? And I get back, and then he would break it down to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
okay. Now I'm starting to get it.
Right.
And I really think that was the fusion between the NWF and MWA, right? Like, we did a lot of those false finishes in the NWF.
Yeah.
MWA was a lot more brawling and Mid-South style,
Yeah.
but I think during our generations, I think we were able to fuse those two together, you know, and that's why those matches were just fire, man.
Because then you with the working the people, and then you all, you learn all the spots, and then you put it all together, man.
Yep.
There were some great matches in Georgetown.
100%.
You could have took them
Yep.
anywhere.
100%, man. It was magical, man. And you know, I can't remember how long that it continued, but we were coming down for 6 years, I think 6 or 7 years, every Sunday, and then every Thanksgiving and every Christmas. Where the family's going off to have turkey, with their family, and it's like, see, I got to go, and we're heading down to Georgetown, man. But
And
you wouldn't
Georgetown
have
was
missed it,
packed
man.
on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
You couldn't fit any more people.
Yeah.
Even with the shoehorn, you couldn't get any more people in there, man.
It was always weird to me because they would say, "Oh, we're gonna have the Thanksgiving Christmas." I was like, "Anybody gonna be here?"
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd show up, and they would just line around the building.
Unreal.
Great fans.
Yeah.
Man. Great fans.
Because they told fucking stories. They made people want to fucking
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
We made you afraid to not show up the next Sunday because you'll forget. You'll miss something.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing that I learned from you guys is, like, before I started working with you guys, if I'd look out there and the crowd was down or whatever, then I'm like, I ain't doing shit tonight. But learning from you guys,
that's not right.
right? So you all would always say, don't
punish.
Don't punish the ones that are here. Let's punish the ones that didn't come.
Right.
Fargo
And I
told us
always-
that.
Yeah.
Fargo's the
I
one that told
always
us that.
remembered
Yep.
And that started changing my way of thinking. Even if there was 30 out there,
Yep.
I'd go out there and wrestle like there was 100 in the
Yep.
building.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And I picked that up primarily just from you guys.
Yeah.
Working
Cool.
with you guys, because you all would always say, "Man, let's." And I think it was Justice. Honestly, was he was there and the crowd was there. He's like, "Hey guys, don't punish those guys that are here.
Yep.
They paid money.
Right.
Go out there and give them a good show. Let's punish the ones that didn't show up. That way they can tell them, hey, you fucked up. You missed this."
Yep.
Exactly.
And that stuck.
Yep.
And that's something that I thank you guys for.
Well, like I said, we got that from Danny Fargo. There'd be times that, the economy was down or whatever. I mean,
Lottery.
Danny always had those, cigarette tax is up, boys.
Cigarette tax are up. You know what that
the
means.
lottery's up now. Everybody spend their money on lottery.
Gravy.
But, that's what Danny used to say. I can say, I remember hearing that from him, and we took that. He was like, don't punish the people that came. I'm like, you know what? You're damn right, man.
Yeah,
Let's
and that
go
never
out there and
clicked
do it
until
all.
I heard you guys say it, man. I'm like,
Yeah,
man, I'm not going out here killing myself with 30 people.
yeah.
But y'all were right. So, you go out there and you still have, and even though the crowd's down, it'll start growing.
Absolutely.
It'll
Well,
gradually
yeah.
grow back up.
Absolutely.
But if you go out there and give them shit, they're going to go out and say, well, you didn't miss nothing.
Yep, that's
know?
it. That's what kept everybody coming back at the Georgetown Convention Center, man. Yeah, it was magical. Yeah, I
That's
loved it.
what happens when you tell a story with every match.
Yeah, every match, I remember we did a fair show for Fargo, and I was wrestling Suicide at the fair show, and Bill Dundee was selling his gimmicks, and then, Sue and I, we used to do everything, man. We threw everything out there. And he came up to me and he goes, now what the hell am I supposed to do? You guys did everything. I'm like, that's not my problem at this point, right?
That's a you
because I
problem,
believe that
brother.
I'm giving them everything
Yeah.
I've got, no matter where I'm at on the card. I believe every match has its spot on the card.
Right.
But if you see my name on the card, I'm going to give you everything I got.
Right.
So it's up to you to follow that, right?
Exactly.
Do something different.
Right.
Exactly. And
There's
Michael-
Danny Fargo there.
Michael wants to know what Angel's catchphrase was.
Oh,
How you like me now?
What do you got?
Oh shit!
what was my catchphrase?
Business is picking up.
Normally when I'm here, I got a big old cooler of beer, and
Yep.
I bring beer and everything.
We're going to have
else.
to have you
What
sign
the hell
that.
is this?
I don't know.
Salute. Give me my water over there.
We definitely going to have you sign that, Donnie.
Cheers to Danny Fargo.
Yes.
Yep.
Salute.
Cheers to him.
Sorry, what was the question?
What was my
It was
catchphrase?
what was his catchphrase?
How you like me now?
Sticking that big nasty tongue
Last
out.
call.
Yeah.
Where's the after party?
Oh, speaking of,
You got the gimmick on you?
Which
you got
one?
The gimmick on you?
Them
Well,
boots?
that's what you'd say. Don.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who's got the gimmick? Who's
Yeah.
got the gimmick? He had a fresh set
Who's
of lungs.
sparking?
Bobby Green's actually tuned in now. He's
Hey, you
watching.
remember this one, Angel? We went out back, and
There's always
Justin had one. Justin had one. He had a cigar, and we was all standing back there. And we had Sam. Sam went with us. So there's like 6 of us,
Yeah.
7 of us, and we're all sitting back there and we're trying to pass, and said, oh, God damn. Sam pulls out a cigarette pack, bro, and he's got the whole cigarette pack is 20 joints. And he hands every person in the circle one and says, fuck all this fucking around shit. Let's smoke. Dude,
Sam didn't mess around,
I
man.
was at
Sam
the
didn't mess
Madison.
around.
I was at the Madison and I hurt, Justin gave me a DDT and so I took it bad and hurt my shoulder and I hurt a crunch, it was hurting bad. And, Sam, I was like, man, I'm pretty bad. I might have to go, I had good insurance. I wouldn't, I had to shoot job the whole time. I was in school.
Good for you, man.
Right. The whole time. I never not had it, And so I'm thinking, I'll go to Dr. Mo. Sam's like, kid, fuck. Here, take 2 of these on the way home. So, he's old school.
Yeah.
You do what you're told.
Yeah.
So, hell, I popped 2 of them. Dude, I tell Justin, I'm like, we're like halfway home from Madison. It's only a 45-minute drive. I'm like, pull over. Dude, I'm trying to gag myself to puke to come off this damn spinning in my head because I don't know what Sam gave me.
Yeah.
But brother, I didn't feel no pain,
Yeah.
but I was sick as a
Yeah,
dog.
it's hard to
you
say
know,
if
the
Sam
whole
gave
way
it to
home.
you.
We were going, so I was taking the family to Disney World for vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Barry, I said, as soon as my match is over, I'm out. I said, I got to try. He said, man, holler at Sam.
Yeah,
He
did
hooked
it for
me up before. He'll hook you up. He'll give you something. He said
Adderall.
it keep you awake. I said, all right.
He
I
said,
said,
"Won't
I said,
take the
I
buzz
said, it's
and
gonna, I said,
Before
it's
the
gonna
school.
fuck me up. He said, no.
No.
And Barry's like, Sam will take care of you. I go to Sam. I was like, hey, Sam, I'm leaving here. We're going straight to Disney World. I need to drive straight through, man. He said, I got you, kid. He comes back, and he's got this piece of paper, and it's folded up. He said, the instructions are inside.
Instructions.
I said, instructions? He said, yeah, follow the instructions. He said, go word for word. I said, all right. I get in the car. I open it up. It says, 1 for Florida, 2 for California. That's what I knew. There was 2 of them in there. It said 1 for Florida, 2
One
for
on the
California.
way. No, I got the story Rob's got to tell.
Yeah.
When you got detained in Canada because of Captain Jack. Captain Jack gave you a Christmas present, and he gave us all Christmas presents. He gave us a disc, a CD, and you went over into Canada.
Wasn't me. No, it wasn't me.
You remember? You know what I'm talking about?
No, that wasn't me.
So Captain
was
Jack,
that, dude?
you remember Captain Jack?
I don't. No.
Yeah,
Shout out to Captain Jack.
you know the dude that did the.
And he had the girl that dominatrix shit.
Yeah. The
So
guy that
anyway-
did all the
yeah,
videos.
He gave everybody the porn.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Christmas, he gave everybody a porn
Yeah.
CD, and I thought it was you went across
Wasn't me.
Canada.
No, it wasn't
And
me.
when they tried to come back,
He got popped.
No.
they
Who
was
was
like,
that?
What is that?
It was.
Oh, that was Kurt Shepard.
No.
That's good.
What was his name?
Probably gay.
Dude.
I knew you were talking about,
I know.
but no, it wasn't me.
But you know what I'm talking about, though.
I don't. No, I
So,
know the disc. He gave everybody
So
one,
he
and
got- yeah, he
I
comes
threw
in
mine
for
away.
Christmas,
I'm like,
I'm there.
yeah,
It's like I had no idea.
yeah,
I never.
yeah.
But
But you still got it.
Yeah.
I may have.
So it might have been you that went to Canada.
Might have been you.
Did you get detained in Canada?
Somebody went to Canada.
3 for Canada.
And when they tried to come back across the border, it was in
Okay.
the bag.
Okay.
Dude, who
no,
was
no.
that?
They took it out of their bag.
It wasn't
and then
me,
when
man.
They put it in there like you can't take porn across the deal, and they detained them.
No.
I thought it was Rob.
Wasn't
but
me, man. I don't.
Even if it was Rob, he's gonna deny that.
Oh, yeah.
He's not.
He's
lying.
It was not me. Yeah, it was not me. It's on it here. I always swear. It's on it here.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
Yeah.
He's not gonna admit to watching porn in Canada.
Bobby Green said, "Hush, bear,"
Is
like
that
the
old-
song said. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He was watching that Canuck.
When they
remember.
come back to NWF, they was hot. They come in that fucking match and say, "Hey, motherfucker, don't ever give me another motherfucking thing." Because hey, it was legit. Like they held them up for a couple hours, you know,
Man.
over this fucking CD.
Barry got the CD and I went over his house. He was in the basement wearing leather and shit. I don't even know what was going on.
I didn't watch it.
He had a
That was
ball
a-
gag and shit.
That was
I
like-
like,
CD.
That was
That's
his
our show,
yeah, that was his house robe.
I didn't watch it. But they said
That was his new gimmick.
and everything on it.
Jeez.
He's going to wear that to the next show.
You know, you're
Damn, who
talking
was
about
that?
Psych, right? And I got a Psych story that I feel horrible with, but it's a funny story. So Psych was trying to get a crazy check, is what he called it. He was trying to get mental disability, right? Because he was going to get a check. Yeah, he called it a crazy check, right?
Yeah.
So he invited a state. I don't even. I should tell this story online, but I'm going to. Hopefully, the statute of limitations over. But he had a state council person that was coming to a show in Wilmington, Ohio.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Man, I really need you to hit me hard."
Oh, you were working with him, wasn't
I
you?
was
That's
working
right.
with him,
Yeah.
right? And I had the NWF title, and it was
Yeah.
going to be Psych. And he goes, "I need you to lay it in." I was like,
I can't even imagine.
all right, he goes, I'm going to tie myself up in the ropes and do this. All right, cool. So we go do the spot. He ties himself in the ropes. I go underneath. I pull the chair because somebody was supposed to plant a chair. I pull the chair. It is a heavy-ass wooden chair.
Oh shit.
I'm like, what am I going to do with this, right? I should have taken time to go get another chair, but I didn't want it to look bad. All right, I slid it in.
Because
I
once you
get
pull
in the
it out,
ring.
you can't go back.
Right, it's
Right.
like, no, this one's not the right one. This
Yeah.
isn't the right
No,
gimmick
you're stuck
chair,
with
right?
it.
I mean, it was a heavy, heavy chair. I slide it in, I pick it up, and he's like, lay it in, kid. All right. Boom! And it freaking split him wide open, man. He got the crazy check.
Right.
But he loved it. He was like, I
Oh.
felt, it broke my heart. But I'm like, I can't, it won't look right if I go get a
Right.
different chair.
Right.
And he's like, bro, thank you so much. You know how Sam was.
Yeah.
He goes, that was perfect. That's exactly.
Perfect. Oh,
Man.
Freaking
goddamn
blue,
kid,
yeah, just
goddamn
bleeding
At
like a
Real
stuck
Deal?
pig. Yeah.
Sue hit Pop with a mailbox. And you know
Pop
the
is
lip-
Sam for years, yeah.
The lip around the mailbox snagged him, and he hit him, and it just caved the whole
I
mailbox in.
remember that.
And he pulled down, and it just scalped him in reverse. I mean, it just
Yeah.
pulled.
And he loved
He
it.
went down like
Loved it.
that, and he just put his hands up and just flipped it right back. Went over to Doom. Doom took him in the ring, took it home.
Dude,
I mean, it was just like a bucket of blood
Yeah.
just
right.
dumped
Yeah.
out of his head.
The one time I worked him was at Madison. That was the trash can deal. Well,
Okay.
When we first started the match, He's like, give me a bill over the rope onto that stage.
Okay.
I mean, 60. So, I give him a bill. Well, he pops right back up, so he gets in the ring, same deal. You got to hit me, kid. So, dude, now, bar none, I'm not no pussy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to the bar. If we get in a fight, it's a one-punch fight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
so Sam's like, hit me, kid. So I hit him. He's like, God damn, fucking hit me. So, I mean, I'm like, why? I'm like, fucking, so it's about half. He's like, oh, fucking pussy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so everything I got, and he's like,
That's how he wanted it.
Yeah.
He
right,
wanted everything you had,
it
man.
still wasn't enough. At the point, he's still saying, my hand is hurting at this point. I'm like, goddamn, Sam, like, I don't got nothing else.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't give him enough.
No,
like, as
no.
far as pain.
He loved it.
Yeah.
He absolutely
And
loved it.
I couldn't, like, I knew then I was fucked. Like, hey, if I stiff you, I stiff you, I stiff you, and you, really?
Yeah.
You're rolling out.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I stiff you for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he's like,
Sam's like more.
come on.
He's like,
And
bring
I'm
it.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Who was it you was working and you took the bump and your belt blew apart? Was it Stamp?
Stamp, so, no. Oh.
Yeah, you took that
So
fucking
Stamp-
choke slam off the
Stamp
top
wanted
rope.
to say, he said we were doing the gimmick at the Madison. And Stamp goes, brother, go to the top. I'm going to reach up, give you a choke slam off the top. Cool. That's just a little bill, top. I'm ready for that. Remember, I'm not polished. I've not been practicing moves. So I get up there. Stamp's a big fuck.
Yep.
Oh,
At
yeah.
this point, it's before he lost the weight.
Yep.
Shit. He's a
Yeah, big
fuck.
dude. Yep.
And I'm a big fuck. He grabs me.
I don't know how both them big
Right.
fuckers got up there.
And then he walks the ropes. So we're both on the top. So now the choke slam's not from the top.
Yep.
It's from the length
Yeah.
of stand
Yeah.
to the bottom.
Yeah.
Brother, fucking.
Yeah, because
boom.
in his mind he thought Stamp was going to stand on the second rope.
He
Right.
just
Yeah.
Or not even get on the ropes,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
grab me.
Yep.
And you take the
slam.
bump off the top.
Yep.
Well, he comes up there with me.
Yeah.
We're there now. I gotta go.
Yep.
Came back
Yep.
up.
Dude, I hit, ass hit, head hit, belt fucking snapped. I couldn't find my pants. So
Couldn't find your pants?
I had
just split my
Al's
pants.
I had Al's
Yeah,
pants.
so they were too big
So
for
they
him.
were too
Oh,
big.
oh,
So
okay,
when the
okay.
belt snapped,
They
the
went over.
pants are fucking, brother, not coming up. And I'm in a concussion. Dude, I'm
Oh man.
I
you
ended up
think
coming
it's,
out during that match.
8 foot to the top.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Stamp's
yeah.
6'2".
Yeah.
He's on top. Plus, I jump.
Yep.
So, brother, it's a
You're up
fucking
there.
20
You're up
foot
there.
bump on
You're
it.
up
It's
there.
like,
Absolutely.
impact.
Yeah.
oh,
All I know is
Yeah.
this belt goes. It just blew apart, dude.
Red X said you should use the headbutt on Sam.
see, there's the same.
Yeah. It would
when I
have.
first run
You would
out,
have. You
I
would have been
stiffed
concussed
X.
for sure.
Yeah.
I stiffed X my very first.
Oh,
run
did you
out.
really?
Dude, I gave him a pop knot. They said give him a headbutt. I said I don't know how to do it. Fargo said I'll just put your hands up there and hit it. I said, okay. Woo, fucking X going. He fucking stiffed me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. This is the #1 guy. And I've not even had a match.
Yeah.
He doesn't know who
Yeah.
this guy is running in.
That's
And I've been
hilarious.
killed him
So, who would be your favorite guy you worked
to work
It's
with.
just to work with?
That's
It-
do two. Do your favorite.
I'm gonna
and
do
then the
3.
favorites you don't. You
I have
didn't
to do
work
3.
with on the regular. That's what we did.
Oh,
I
okay.
had to-
Like
Bobby
some
Blade.
random guy. You
Okay.
know.
Bobby Blade, Dirty Chris, Bear, Smooth.
Yeah, Chris was fun to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris was fun to work.
Chris was good.
Chris was my relief
Right.
because I could work with him and I could just sit
See,
there and just
Patriot
watch
was
him
like
work.
Me and Larry.
It's like being in
the front
row.
Yeah.
It was always.
Larry
good
was
matches.
easy to work.
And
Yeah.
it was always good matches. What about you?
Favorite person to work with? I mean, age definitely would be.
But we
one of
never
those
worked.
guys. Huh?
We never worked.
Yeah, we did.
I know, but not
We
really.
did like the
Not
whole
like
the
you
whole
wanted to.
not as often, but I think it made it even more
But that's
special,
like,
right?
well, it did, but
Because ours was I don't know, a 20-year storyline,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
when I when I was the spoiler and I pile drove you through the
That
table
was-
at Peels,
That was 99.
and then he moved
That's
to
a nice story.
he moved to Alaska, so he was gone, and then he came back the next year to visit, and we did Angel's Revenge match, and that was the first match I ever stood in the ring. And when his music hit, man, I swear to God, I was like, wow. It was, the only word I can use to describe it is electric, man, because it was a year in the making, right? A year in the making, and he came back and he whipped my ass, during that time, and then it kind of dissipated.
Yeah.
And then we really didn't lock back up on a regular basis until I retired, you went back, you got the NWF strap, and then I came back so we could have our one last match, because we were each other's first match. We trained together. We knew, like, he's one of those guys, man, like, we didn't have to talk. Like, I could just, I could watch his reaction. I could see his eyes. I knew exactly what we were going to do, because we had trained and everything. And then we came back, and then that was my official retirement match. So, I mean, that was a 20-something year storyline.
Right.
So, by far, that was probably the best that I ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
best angle.
Yeah.
Bobby Blade was another guy, man. We clicked well.
I think that was a given to me and you working together.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've been connected like peanut butter and jelly from, month two.
I mean, me and him was the same way, but the problem was we were both top heels.
Yeah.
So you had to flip one of us.
Yes,
yeah.
It worked,
Yeah.
So they
and
flipped me.
I was a shit baby, so they always had to flip on me. Like, they always had to flip it because dude, I hated it.
And we had that
I
same
hated
build
every
up.
minute of
We
it.
built our match up for a
never
whole
wanted to do it.
year.
Yeah.
We built a match. It was a year in the making.
Uh-huh.
Gets down to the end, and I'm supposed to take the strap, and this motherfucker don't want to give it up. So he breaks my leg.
Tuffy agreed.
So he
He didn't want
breaks
to give it up, Barry.
He didn't want to give it up because
That was like his
I
virginity,
kept
too.
hearing.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm about to break.
Times he told that
I'm about to
story
break
16.
X's record. I'm gonna be the longest reigning MWA champ. And, hold it the longest one period of time. I was like, dude, it's your time's done. We get out there, and what's he do? He breaks my fucking leg in the ring, and he
That's
keeps
all
the belt for
fabricated.
another fucking year. So I get to come back.
But then
Never
Tuffy-
anybody without losing it, by the way.
The other
Nobody
guys
knows
last
that. I
night
had it
agreed
the
that you broke
longest
his
without
leg on
losing it.
He
purpose.
did it on purpose.
I never lost it.
Speaking of
When
X,
I lost it, I lost it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do the back and forth. I had it for like 2 years, and then when I lost it, I lost it.
I think I would say, speaking of X, one thing I'm very thankful for is we were both baby faces at the same time. I'm thinking I'm the only guy on the roster that never took rated X's stunner, so I thank the Lord for that. Yeah, because X was pretty stiff.
I took extra stunner. I didn't have an issue with it.
Age was out of action for 12 weeks when he took X's stunner.
Well, me and Sue used to work as heels together all the time. Man, that's
So
old.
you
There it is.
Suicide chopped me one time, and I thought
Yeah, we
my
were in
chest
DX.
was-
Suicide?
Yeah.
Me, Suicide, and
Because
Bobby
I was
Blade.
green as shit, and he
Yeah.
chopped me, man.
Oh,
and
Christian.
it brought blood
Dude,
to
that's
my chest.
old.
I just looked,
Yeah.
and I've hated chops ever since.
Have you really?
Yeah, I won't like. I don't like taking
Times,
chops
man.
to this day because of him.
He's a different kind of cat.
He's the reason.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
I only got to hang out with him a few times. but
X
he's
says
a
what?
different cat.
Dude, we used to
never
beat the
stood
hell
there.
out of each other, man. Oh, me and Sue.
Yeah, yeah,
He's the reason
Should-
I don't like chops to this day.
he did. Sue?
Oh man.
Oh, Age, yeah. It was how we did it.
What?
You stiffed everybody.
I wasn't stiff.
Never.
So
I was tight.
should we tell us? Should we tell the story about Suicide in the Battle Royal?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that tag team, right? So they were in DX. They were a near-death experience, and they were running roughshod over everybody, right? But they were baby faces at that time, and then so I was doing something in MWA, and I don't know. I was beating the hell out of somebody, and then Suicide came out to make a save because they were going to pair us together. So Suicide comes out to make the save. He does a split leg choke slam gimmick on me,
Yeah.
and at that time, if you remember, their apparel, they wore these Daisy Duke jean shorts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It had the flannels tied around, it was kind of that flock kind of look. Well, Suicide did that to me, and he goes, I just shit. I rolled, and sure enough, he shit, and like he had Taco Bell right before the night, right?
Oh,
And that's when we had this white
yeah.
That-
plastic mat. That was
Real slick.
that was super
It was
slick, and
slick,
it got wet.
yeah.
Yeah. So Sue did that. So we roll back, we fight, and I go back through the curtain. So then right away is a battle royal right after that. And the bell's ringing. And,
Shit's
and
still
like,
ringing.
yep, and guys go on. I think it was Tuffy and Rage and some of those guys.
Oh,
Fargo's looking,
Rage.
Fargo's looking through the curtain. I was like, hey, Danny, I said, there's shit in the ring. Shit? What do you mean shit? I was like, there's shit in the ring. What do you mean? There's human feces in the ring, Danny. Oh, well, shit, it's too late. And they're bumping it into the Wilder, and I was like, oh, man. That was the grossest memory I've ever had of wrestling, man. That was
And
disgusting.
you know the crowd was like, what?
Yeah. It was so bad. It was like somebody finger painted with brown
The old new
paint,
Sue
man.
did it too, I bet.
Yeah. That was the second time Sue did that
yeah.
when he was in the ring with me.
Yeah.
It was
He
one
did it
time
once
in
with
Harrison,
me.
Ohio. He gives me an elbow, and he goes, "I just shit." And then he shit, but at that time he had the spandex on, so it kept everything contained. But
It's
during that
happened to me
NDX,
twice.
He did it once with me.
Oh, did he with you too?
Well, it happened to me twice.
Oh, it happened to you
Oh,
twice.
oh.
Okay. Tell us the story, Chuck.
Oh man. We were in Chatsworth, Georgia, doing Big Bobby show.
Okay.
And it was me and Al against Tommy Gunn. I don't remember somebody else. Well, anyway, we're in there, and we had caught a spot where Tommy Gunn was going to give me a spine buster. So we're in there, and I come off the second rope with a forearm. And as soon as I hit, I just shit my pants.
No kidding. Oh.
Black singlet, thank God.
Put the kids to bed.
Oh,
everybody.
man, so I shit my pants. And we're in there, and I said, we're calling off the spine buster. He thought I said spine buster. So he shoots me
Oh
off,
no.
picks me up,
Oh, no.
spine busting me. Oh, man, I'm like, oh.
Shit all up his back.
Oh no.
Horrible, man.
Did you have the white overalls on at that point?
No,
Okay.
no.
Oh man.
Thank God.
He come to the back and he just walked past us. I said, "How was it?" And he just kept on walking straight outside. So I walk out the back to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And when I get out there, there's Chuck, asshole naked, and trying to get shit off his back with a
I
towel.
left it all in the parking
Hey,
lot.
singlet,
Whole gimmick.
pants, everything was in the parking lot. He threw his whole outfit away. Right
Big
there.
Bobby cussed me. He
man.
goes, "You left your shitty ass fucking gimmick out in the parking lot." Yeah,
Oh
sure
no.
did.
Oh no.
Uh,
Crusher Bones and who's that? Steve Marino.
I'm trying to
or-
think of who the
I didn't
No,
know-
that's
I
Billy.
didn't know-
Billy
That's
Marino.
That's
Oh,
Kenny
yeah.
fucking Powers. It looks like.
Shit, Billy Marino was good.
Yeah, he was real good.
Yeah, he
Damn.
was.
Yeah, I heard he passed away. Yeah, I heard he did.
I can't
Crusher
remember
Bones'
who I was
son.
Got a
working,
sweet mullet.
but Tim, he was reffing,
Yeah.
and we was working for Fargo, and I bumped the guy, I give him the slam, and I go for the pin, and while jerk, go to pin him, his nuts had fell out of the trunks,
Oh no.
and before Timmy even made the count, he grabbed him, put him right back in.
Did he really?
And I was like,
That's a gentleman.
that's the first thing I was like,
That's
why he's a Hall of
gentleman
Famer.
and I was thinking to
Yes.
myself,
That's why he's a Hall
I
of
was thinking to
Famer.
myself, did that just happen? Because he goes, your nuts are out, and popped him right back.
No.
And that's the whole
I bet he
time
got
I was
paid.
wrestling
Yeah.
that match. I was like,
Good.
we just fucking took that dude's
Wow.
nuts. And I'm sitting there getting fucking,
Ain't that good?
You could, yeah.
I guess I mean,
Soft hands that you have, Bear.
yeah, but he reached there. Well, fuck.
So if them
Nice and
folks fell
gentle.
out there hanging low.
Yeah, shit.
They fell out there hanging low.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I come out thinking that maybe I should need to wear trunks a little.
We'll steer your ass in.
He
He's
just
got you.
He just got a rub.
He's got you,
A
man.
rubbing tub right here in the ring in front of fucking 100 people.
You know, we talked about kind of being that last generation, I think, that learned how to really walk and talk in the ring. But another thing, we were the last generation was the road atlas and getting from show to show
Oh, man.
with a road atlas and really crappy directions, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember
Maps.
doing a show for Danny somewhere way down in Kentucky. GPS wasn't a thing, or if you had to be rich to have it, so that wasn't us. And he was like, "Yeah, you go down this country road, you see a really nice trailer, then you turn left, and it's
Right.
like
I hate
those
asking
are
for
those are our
directions.
directions,
Your
man.
GPS
Yes.
was the guy who was riding with you
Exactly.
in the shotgun seat, and he's
Yes.
probably about half drunk on the way.
Or
Yeah,
it was me and I was like,
The worst was asking the locals. Was the worst.
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, you go down
Absolutely.
there to the pasture and it's over yonder and
Yep.
Go down
Yeah.
there to the big barn
So-
and turn left.
yeah,
So kind of with that, asking the
There's
locals.
50 barns down here.
yeah.
We were doing a road show. We were going out to West Virginia, and we had a full car. It was me, you, Justice, Suicide, and then Brett Michaels. You guys remember Brett?
oh yeah.
So he was with us, and same thing. It was paper directions, trying to read the road atlas, going on some country road, and we couldn't find out where, we couldn't find where we were going. I was like, pull over here to this bar. I'll go in and ask for directions.
He never came back.
Never came back.
Yeah, I know.
So we go in, Brett and I go in, I ask for directions. They're like, turn here, go down here, whatever. Okay, cool.
Chris Michaels.
No, Brett Michaels. Chris was another guy,
I know
but
Chris.
Brett was an
I don't
NWF
know
guy. Brett was a different guy.
I don't remember Brett.
He was part of
Okay.
the contractors up in
Honest
NWF.
Brett Michaels?
Honest Brett Michaels.
You don't remember him?
He had a brick in his lunchbox.
So anyway, we go in the bar. I go up. I get
That's a good story.
I get directions, right? And I was like, all right, I get a piss. He's like, me too. So we go in and we're pissing, right? And then we finish and hey, thanks for the directions. And we walk out to the car. We drive maybe 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, I don't think this is right. I don't think that we're in the right direction. And I was like, pull over here to this gas station. Brett's like, yeah, I gotta pee. Brother, we just went. Me and you just went. And he goes, yeah, but we walked in, man. Everybody was looking at us funny. I just didn't feel comfortable, so I cut it off.
Oh,
Dude,
shit.
we were there. We were already at the urinals,
Oh,
man.
How did he cut it off?
Right. But Brett was hilarious, man. He actually
never
was the
did
very
that.
first guy to teach me how to take bumps when I went to Bone Crushers. Yeah, but yeah, he cut it off. He was nervous because they were giving us funny looks. But,
Giving you the eye.
yeah.
We were looking for a show one time, same kind of shit, so we stopped. We kept stopping at gas stations and asking. And every gas station that we stopped at, they said, oh yeah, that other wrestler done stopped by. He gave us his picture, and it was a Xerox
Ice Train.
copy of Ice Train, brother. He go in and ask for directions.
no.
He say, here's a picture for your kids. So they had everybody on the way
Black and
got
white
Xerox copies of fucking Ice Train.
Ice Train got us on a show in West Virginia for Iron Cross, and we went down there and did that show, and we stayed at the Landmark Inn. So the place we was wrestling at was in this hotel, nice spot. It's kind of like Continental setup.
Yeah.
And then right out back, when you come out of that, there was a bar, like right in the parking lot. So we staying at the hotel, right there was the bar, great setup. So we went to the bar, we got shit faced. Well, the next day we're heading back home. And Ice Train, he's still fucked up. And we're driving and we're heading back, and he goes, hey, Donnie, man, he said, this next exit, hit this next exit, man, I got shit. I said, no problem, brother. Next exit's coming up, and I see him, he's looking, right on past it. He goes, hey, Donnie, man, you missed that exit. I said, oh, shit, man, my bad, I'll get the next one.
Yeah.
I passed up about 3 of them. After I passed that third one, this motherfucker's screaming. He's standing up in the seat, and he's like this.
Oh no.
He said, dude, you gotta stop, dude. He said, my fucking star hole's opening. He stood up, he said, I'm serious, man, my star hole's opening. So I knew if I'm past the next one, he's gonna shoot it. So I hit the next exit,
That was nice of you.
and he rolls in. He gets out, and I shit you not, he wasn't in there a second.
You
He
shit a
goes-
snot?
He goes in and right back out.
Oh no.
I said, dude, did you shit? He goes, oh, I shit. He said, we need to go. He literally walked in, pulled his pants down, opened the stall door, and just shit in the door. Never even hit the toilet.
That's a blow and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Projectile
He
shit.
come back out, and I said, well, did you wipe? He said, yeah, I wiped. And we're driving. All of a sudden, I see him looking, and there's this brown stain on his hand. He does this. He goes, he said, oh, man, you got to stop at the next exit. I said, fuck you, shit palm. You going to ride with that. I made him ride with shit the rest of the
Oh
way.
jeez. That was before you had hand sanitizer in the car too, man. Oh man.
Before COVID.
It was
That was way before COVID, man. Way before COVID. That man caused COVID.
But, hey, the problem was, I wasn't even supposed to be driving, but he showed up to pick us up
Yeah.
from Justin's house, and he had a Jeep, and he's like, we'll take my Jeep. So when he shows up, the bumper's hanging off the fucking Jeep, and there's a mailbox wedged under the Jeep. And he's fucked up like he'd been snorting Xanaxes, you know?
Yeah.
So when he shows up, I was like, dude, what'd you do, Train? He said, it's all right. I told her I'd come back and fix it. I said, did you talk to him? He goes, well, I hit it, and I just rolled the window down. I said, I'll come back and fix it. So he took somebody's mailbox. I said, dude, you're not driving.
That was Ice Train?
Yeah.
Hey, one time we
You're
was
not
in
driving
Sterling,
nowhere.
and he wore them parachute pants. He took his parachute pants off, and he his underwear on
On the outside.
with on the outside with thermals underneath his underwear. And he's like, "What happened?" Then another time he missed a show, and we were like, "Dude, we called him. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You know, we had a show. You didn't show up." He goes, "Oh no, the show's on Saturday. It's just Tuesday." The show was over. Like,
Jeez, oh Beats.
yeah, man. You know, and the bad thing was, when he was on, he was a great opening match.
Mm-hmm.
You have a great opening, first, second, third match, you know, and that's what you need. You need that.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have every player.
Yeah, yep,
You
absolutely.
got to have
Absolutely.
your big guys, but you got to have your opener if you want to bring people back.
Yep.
You can't
That's right.
Well, the
Three
opener
shit.
sets the tone of the
You
night.
can't set
100%.
3 shit matches out
100%. Yes.
and then have 2 great matches and think people will come back. They're not gonna come
If you have a great opener, every match after that has to get better.
Yep.
I mean, that's the whole point.
Yep,
To
absolutely.
build to
You
the
build
main
on it.
event.
Yep.
So,
Hey.
Him and Gene could have. I mean, they were good openers, man. And you know, Train, he loved it and everything. He just couldn't. He couldn't.
couldn't get off the dope.
Get
Yeah.
out the dope.
Hayes, what's your favorite Rage match?
Rolling Ray.
Rolling
Yeah.
Rage.
What was your favorite match?
Oh man, that was a good match.
No,
When-
no.
When Sue blew his knee out. Do you all remember that? Oh,
It was
Sue-
before these guys, I think. That
Sue
started.
Hyper. You know who Rage was?
Yeah,
Yeah, we know Rage.
Oh yeah.
Sue
The
blew
Rolling
it.
Rage.
Sue hyperextended his knee
Great.
and went down in the ring. And he tagged me in and stuff, and he was just laying there. Me and Rage are working, and I look over at Sue. I said, "Hey, are you good?" He's like, "No, we got to go home. I'm hurt. I'm bad. I got to go to the hospital." So I'm like, "Oh, geez." So I looked down at Rage. I said, "Hey, we're going home right now." So I forgot what the finish was, but I picked him up, shot him in, went to go do the finisher. 1, 2, kicks out. I look at dude. I forgot. Maybe it was who was our refs? It was
Tim, and then Tuffy came along and he started reffing.
yeah. It was. I looked
There
right
was
at the
another guy
ref.
in between, I believe.
Whoever the ref was, he looked right at me. He was just like, "Oh shit." So I pick him up, shot him in, and I broke his cheekbone and his nose.
His orbital, I
and
think.
His orbital.
Yeah.
That was Chip
Down,
Fairway.
didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was Chip Fairway that got his.
Oh,
head
yes,
shoved in.
yes, yes.
Um,
That was in Northern Kentucky.
that was at Peels.
We were.
Yeah, everything's kind of
Yeah.
like spread out.
That dude, he came to Sterling
Too
one
much
time.
ball rips or
He, you know,
chair
in
shots.
Sterling, Shane Parker's
It
gone.
happens, bro.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay.
like, it's Sterling. It's Shane
Yeah,
Parker's
Shane
world.
Parker.
Okay.
Like, so Shane's finisher was a scissor kick.
Yeah.
So Rage just decided he's going to use it in the middle of the match. Just use it.
Yeah.
So that's when we had them separate dressing rooms.
Everybody started beating on
They
the
get on
floor.
their phones and Shane, he just did your finisher, man. He called up to Fargo or whatever. However
Yeah.
we did, I don't know if we did walkies or whatever. He said, hit my fucking music. But they hit his music and poor Rage never saw it coming. He beat the shit.
Never been seen again, huh?
No, that was it.
Yeah, he was an interesting cat.
Dude, he
Yeah,
was
very interesting
Firehouse
cat.
Fargo.
Firehouse.
a winner, dude.
There was Firehouse, there was Nut House, there was
Firehouse
Shit House.
got a-
Shit House Fargo was my
It was all
favorite.
about the same.
Firehouse got a hold of some youngins, so I think Firehouse. was
Oh, really?
part of-
Yeah, he
Oh,
went to
okay.
prison.
Yeah, he got-
Certified pedophile.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, that would
man.
never happen to Shit House Fargo.
No. That Doug Vines?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
man.
he
Yep.
was great.
Yeah, he was.
Sean Casey.
MWA's been around 40 years.
Yeah, 40-something years, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a cornerstone for Kentucky wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, that's where we cut our teeth, man. We were down there every Sunday for 6 or 7 years.
I think it was
man.
about
There was a point that everybody that got in the business actually wanted to work for MWA because
right.
Exactly.
so many names that went through there
Right.
Yep.
and moved on to
Yep.
do bigger things. So that was that was just a spot everybody wanted to work.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I remember when I worked, I always wanted the MWA belt.
Yeah.
'Cause
these
that was-
kids today don't
That meant
know,
the most.
man.
Yeah.
It meant
Absolutely.
something.
These new
you know?
guys, they don't know.
That's what I
man.
said when they
They don't.
You know,
They don't care.
They
Yeah.
don't
Best
respect
man
it.
They
ever
don't
was, and I said it was actually, even though I'm not a mark for a belt, you know, because I've had belts everywhere. They always wanted belts big, you know.
Mhm.
Not wanting an MWA belt.
Yeah, it meant a lot.
Because MWA was a spot that they only put the belt on you if you were one of the best.
Yep.
Not saying you were the best, but at
Yep.
the time you were the best.
Yep.
You know, the best may have had his year.
Yep.
So now you're the next best.
Yep.
You know, whatever.
Whoever
right.
had
That's
the belt,
They didn't
well,
just put it
MWA
on
usually was
anybody.
packing the company.
Yep.
That was
They
the
didn't just put
headliner.
on-
You know.
That's
So,
right.
so when I won that belt, when I was told I was winning that belt, that was a good moment. It was actually like a battle royal. It was like a tournament. It was like
Okay.
a 2-day tournament. So it was real good. And
Yeah, he
You know.
wanted it so bad he broke my leg and didn't want to
Yeah.
give it up.
Yeah.
I mean, just throwing that back out there, you
I
know.
mean, we hear it every week.
Well, I mean,
So,
it hurts
I mean,
every fucking day. You're going to hear it
Just
the rest
'cause
of your
you're
life.
fucking fat and
I mean,
out of
you
shape,
want to
so
be a
your rifles
champion.
hurt.
Hey, what was
And
your
stay
fa-
the
what was
champ.
what was your favorite match in Georgetown?
Oh, in Georgetown. It's definitely have to be with Bobby Blade. I don't
Yeah.
Oh,
know if we were.
And I wish Bobby was here. He's getting a lot of shout outs.
Oh, I know.
That's
He
right.
deserves
Right
every
down
one
the
of
street,
them.
ain't he? Yeah, he does.
I
Yeah.
love working.
Man, we just did that.
Yeah.
We did a feud where he was taking my gimmick
Yes, I
Little bit
remember
at a
that.
time.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
when I was face. Just
Yep, I
every
remember
week
that.
he was taking something, and then at the end of the feud, I dressed up like a security guard, and he just handed all my stuff back to me. And I
Yeah.
went to the middle of the aisle,
Yep.
took it off, put everything back on,
Yeah.
went in, did the deal, and
Yeah.
Blade-
Yeah, yeah.
put me
And
over.
my thing with Blade was he always questioned himself.
He was so
And
good,
I
man.
think that's
So
what- I
good.
think that's what
So
kept
good.
him crisp, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was
Absolutely.
never satisfied.
He was his
Absolutely.
biggest critic.
Yeah.
He
He
always
never
was.
satisfied
I've
with
always
the
said
performance.
that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it was great. We talked
And he'd
about
go
that.
out there and
Yeah.
he would get up and down, move.
Yeah.
But on the way back, you'd have to step over him
Yeah.
to get in the dressing room because he'd be laid on the floor.
Yeah.
blow up.
They give his all 100%.
he always
Every
wanted to do
time.
Yeah.
something different too.
No matter what he was doing, he
Oh,
did
yeah.
everything.
We're talking about the heavyweight title, and I think my personal favorite match in Georgetown was it got to a point where we were like coming up with our own storylines, right? And we were kind of booking the territory for us. And an idea that I actually had, because I had the strap at that point, is I wanted to get Rick Toms. I wanted to give him the belt, right? I wanted Rick Toms to have the belt.
Dude, that's so
So how do we get to that point, right? And so Rick would come out and he would announce and everything, and then it got to the point I was in his face and I was always giving him shit. And it kept building. Somehow we got to a three-way dance where it was Jason Cross, because Jason and I were kind of feuding, and then Rick Toms, right? So Rick was a guy that he didn't know what to do and he was trying to stay out of it.
Right.
And so we did this deal where Jason like bumped me, and then he bumped himself out or whatever, and Rick came up and he looked around and he covered me 1, 2, 3, and the freaking roof just
Oh, yeah.
came unglued, man. Came unglued.
Did you have to do something in Peels too? With
We did-
Rick? I thought
Him
you
and I
did.
teamed. Him and I
Tag-
teamed
that's
it.
right.
Yeah, we teamed in there against Spoiler and Kahuna.
Didn't you get the tag belts or something?
Not Rick and I.
Okay.
But when they kind of 1, 2, 3, and Rick became MWA champion, man, it was so cool. And I'm laying there like, yes, that's exactly
That's
what
what
we
you
want to
want,
do.
yeah.
And that was just we were selfless. It wasn't like I want to be the champion. It's like, what can I do to get somebody else over and get that reaction? So then I think I jumped Rick after that and put him out, and then the next week, Rick's music hits. I come out in a tux jacket with a blonde wig, and hey, thank you very much for coming out. I was imitating Rick, you know, and it just got a lot of heat, man.
I had a great read.
But those are good stories.
Right.
It
though.
was.
That's
It
the
was.
thing, man.
Yes.
It's all about storytelling.
And
If you
mine
don't have
with
a good
Slick Rick
story.
was similar, man. I would go in the ring and, you know, I'd run the referee out. You know, I did my whole deal and Rick would be in the ring.
Yeah.
And I'd go get in his face.
Yep.
You know, but I wouldn't say shit. You know,
Yep.
I'd say shit, but it'd be off the wall. So,
Yeah.
dude, I get in his face, I do the deal, and of course he chicken shits and blah, blah, blah. Then I walk out. He goes, and Ray the Bear said he wants to be known as the greatest of all time. And I went, fuck yeah, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was all
He
Rick,
cut it
bro.
on the fly. Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
had no part in that.
Yeah.
So then every time I come out MWF, I'd go get in his face,
Yeah.
talk shit. I'd walk away and he'd go, and Ray the Bear has said he wants to be called as the greatest of all time. And that was all him, bro. Like that had nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, how good is that? Think about that.
That's good.
I had
Yeah.
no clue. Like, and it put me over huge
Yep.
because they're like, you ain't great, you know. I mean, and it was all him. Like
Yeah.
that was he'll and I used that everywhere I went. After that,
Did you really?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
It just
no doubt.
Hell
it
yeah.
just
I tell the ref, no, I'm the greatest of all time.
best things
you know.
happen organically like that.
And-
Yeah.
But that was all Rick.
Yeah.
And he just done it on the fly one day. He just said, boom. He
Yeah.
wants to be addressed as the greatest of all time.
Yeah, speaking of greatest of all time, I always say Rick is the greatest ring
Yes,
announcer. No
yes.
disrespect to
I
anybody
think
else.
so, too.
Yeah.
But I started like many years ago when social media came out, started hashtagging world's greatest ring announcer because to me he is the best of the
He
best.
is.
Man, you
I
know,
always said the
Yeah.
He's
same.
just a
He
good
plays-
guy.
he
Just a
plays
great
a-
guy. man.
great guy. I
Well,
love him. He's one of my
he
He's
favorite.
does
also
his
got
ring
a
announce.
great
He
name.
plays,
Yes.
Slick
he plays
Rick.
a character. He plays a part.
Yeah,
He does all the animation. He does all
He
the
does.
extra. He don't
He
just
does.
get in there and be formal. He dresses the part.
Yep.
But then he does the gimmick.
Yep.
Like
And he
he'll
can do it
chicken
with his
shit,
voice.
or he'll do
Yes.
Gets people
Exactly.
excited,
And
bring them
everybody
down,
don't
up.
do that.
We said the first match sets the tone for the evening, but really, when Rick came out, that
Oh,
set the tone
man.
for the evening, man. When his
Yeah.
music hit and he came out dressed professional and his voice and how he articulated everything, that elevated the show, man. And that raised those expectations for
He
everybody
should do
else.
radio. Like,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. He used to be in an 80s band
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
called Blitz. Yeah.
I can see that.
I can see
you know,
that too,
The funny
'cause the
thing,
hair.
next week's show is mouthpieces.
Okay.
So I mean, Rick's got an open invite, of course.
Yeah.
But you've got Tiny coming. You got Neil Jackson
Okay.
coming. You got Otis coming. Martin Morris. You know, Bobby Blade's been invited. Del Bass been invited.
Nice. Okay.
So these are just anybody.
If Bass is
you know,
coming, you better
that
start
was
at
on
7
the mic.
o'clock.
Yes,
I didn't,
because
3-hour
Bass,
show.
Bass will continue taking over the show.
3-hour
Austin
show.
Medler, the
Oh
the
yeah.
invite.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Absolutely.
Man, Medler was cool, man. Medler was
Another
he
great
was the
guy.
Wasn't he
perfect-
like in Fort Knox or somewhere? I thought he moved.
I'm not
I,
for sure.
I don't know,
Who
but
was
But
it?
man, that
Medler,
dude played
Austin
the part.
Medler.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
a nerd.
Oh, Austin
and-
Miller's here.
So
was
what?
he
uh,
in Lexington?
Yeah, I saw him at Richmond, Kentucky recently.
Oh, he
He's
lives
with
here? Oh, we need to
A.J.
get him next
Alexander's
week, too.
company.
Maybe
Okay.
reach out to Austin and
Yeah.
get him next week.
So
because-
what point in your career did you say, okay, I think it's time for me to call it quits? Like, was there a defining moment that you?
When I worked with Rob.
Yeah.
Was it the punch or was it the snot?
You gotta stop.
They both worked me toward the end, so what's that tell you?
Like for me, it was the dressing room. It wasn't the ring work.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
the dressing room. I got back there and I was sitting in the dressing room, sitting around all
Yeah.
these cats that I didn't know anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know any of these
For
guys
sure.
anymore, and they were
For
all
sure.
younger than me,
They're all different.
and
Yep.
did everything different. Like I was used to, where's the party at after the show? What
Yeah.
we're gonna do? These guys were talking about playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
They was talking about playing video games, and I'm just thinking, why are they fucking?
Yeah, it's not the camaraderie and the brotherhood.
Right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's
Yeah.
when I knew it was time for me to
Well,
go.
they were all
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
I knew when I couldn't wrestle the same 110-pound guy over and over again for God knows how long.
Right.
And everybody in the locker room's 110 pounds. It's like after the second.
Shit, your boots were 110
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, his were definitely 110.
Yeah.
Each one piece.
Yeah, I could only take a knee shot so many times that
Right.
you know.
The funny thing is, it's the NWF show, and my actual moment I knew it was over. I hung out and did a few shows here and there, but when I knew it was over, I did a run-in on Muldoon,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave me a choke slam, and when he did, my hip popped out.
Oh.
And I'd never been hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been hurt
Yep,
wrestling
yep, yep.
you folks,
Yep.
but I've never been hurt.
You were never injured.
And
Injured.
So when it did it, man, I rolled out and I went to get up, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And my boys are in the crowd and they're crying, you know, because I'm not getting up.
Yeah.
I always get up.
Yep.
So then they come try. I'm supposed to get back up and do a
Mhm.
spot, and the security come try. I said, "Don't fucking touch me! Like I'm hurt." Like
Yeah.
so I had to wait there
Yeah.
on the ground till the people clickers. You know, eventually Roger figured it out,
Yeah.
and sent
Mhm.
somebody else, and they did the deal.
Yeah.
And then when it was over, when the people were leaving, I've not moved. I'm still laying there, and I knew in that moment I could have lost everything. That because I mean I had good pension, good all
Yep.
that stuff with my job.
Yep.
And stuff. I was like, I love this more than anything, but I don't love it more than my kids.
Yeah.
and what I
It's
got
good you get that
going on.
mindset.
Right.
I don't think
So
some of us
that,
have that mindset.
that was the moment I knew I couldn't do it like we did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I still done it for a few years, but
Yep.
it was sparingly.
Right.
It was here and
Yep.
there, a tag match or
Yep.
a match. I'd go if I knew I was working him, if I knew I was working out, if I knew I was
You
working
were picking and
somebody.
choosing the guys
Yeah.
who you're working with.
I
Yeah.
wasn't showing
That's
up.
what I did
yeah.
the last
I
couple
wasn't
years.
showing
yeah.
up and looking for my name on the card.
Yeah.
That was me the
Yeah.
last 5 years. I picked and choose. I was like, I can't
Well,
do
I quit.
these.
I quit, and then Larry calls me. Oh man, please work with this kid. He's a good kid. Lord Crew.
Okay. Yeah.
He's
yeah,
like, man,
good
you'll
kid.
love him. He's young.
Yep.
I'd like for you to work with him. That way he gets some experience.
Mhm.
Working. So, and I went back. We ran an angle, and we ended up in a house of chairs match as a cage with
Mhm.
chairs lined all around. You could use the chairs, but it was great.
Yeah.
But after that match, I knew then I was done.
Once you get in your head that you're afraid to get hurt, man, it just
Yeah.
perpetuates a
Yeah,
situation.
because we wouldn't scare shit.
Yeah, not
We
at all.
were
You-
ignorant.
So what
Yeah.
was the
Well, I mean, we
spot?
do anything.
Mine it was kind of a progression. So it was 2001, Nashville. We were in the Nashville Municipal Arena. Bridgestone had just been built. I think it was right around that time. But we were in the other old arena, and I was wrestling for the NWA Tag Team titles. There was some bad company, bad attitude. I can't remember what they were called, but it was my buddy David Young. Shout out to him, man. Love that guy. And then Rick Michaels. I don't know if you guys know, but they had the NWA straps for a while. And then Aaron Paris and I beat them in Nashville, and then we were having a rematch back on Christmas night. And Rick, we were on the floor, and Rick hooked me. And then instead of how when you go for a suplex, you push and then you go,
Yeah.
he just hauled me. So I jumped, and when I took that suplex on the concrete, I came down on my side. I was like, something ain't right.
Right.
And then over the next several months, man, it just every time I came back, I'd have to lay on the floor, put my legs up, ice it. It just kept getting worse. And then by that time, WCW had closed, so we had been doing some jobs for them. We did a couple jobs for WBF, but then things were starting to dry up. We had a big run with MECW, Main Event Championship Wrestling, who they started picking up all the ECW dates. So we did a pay-per-view at the ECW arena. Dirty Chris was there, Wildcat, Justice and Age. We were all there. But there weren't a whole lot of places to work either, right? So it was between that. I had some kids. I was paying child support. Things were getting rough. My back was just giving out. It was failing me. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back home and start to slow things down. And I had the NWF heavyweight title at that point. And we did a show in Wilmington, and I wrestled Roger to put Roger over on his birthday, and it was an awesome match. And I was like, man, I still got it, right? I can go. I worked at Roger. It was a freaking excellent match. That was awesing. And I was like, I worked Roger, and it was on his birthday, and I put him over, and he had the NWF title. And I was like, I think I can just do some local stuff. The next month, I wrestled Chad Allegra, and he was a newer guy, and we went to do a tilt-a-whirl head scissors, and I didn't have him correctly, and I tried to adjust, and when I went to take the bump, I came down on my shoulder and separated my shoulder. Oh. And I was like, man, it's one of those things. It was a progression. I'm like, you know what? That's it for me, because it's in my head. The money wasn't there because the territories were all drying up.
Right.
You know, the chances of getting a contract were kind of minimal. Bill Barron's, because I was at that point every Saturday we were going to Nashville every Friday night we were going to Nashville to wrestle. Every other Saturday we were going to Wildside in Georgia to wrestle. The other Saturdays we were staying in Nashville and doing a 2-day shot, and then that Sunday we would come back and wrestle in Georgetown. That was our loop for that weekend. So, and I told Bill Barron's, and he's like, don't retire, don't give up. There's some things coming down the pike, and I think that there's a place for you guys. I said, Bill, I can't do it. I said, I'm in too much pain. I'm not making enough money. I just can't, man. I can't continue. And he said, don't do it. And I was like, Bill, I got to. This is my last day down here. And then, so then I separated my shoulder. I was like, that's it. You know, I'm just done. And then what he was talking about, we didn't know, but it eventually ended up being TNA Wrestling. That he knew there were a lot of talks about, the Jareds coming up. So that's where TNA started there. But by that point, I was just too beat up, man.
Yeah.
My body was it was shutting down on me. And
A little too late.
a little too late for me, so I was like, I'm good. But, I think I honestly believe things happen for a reason, because I was able to go back, get a job, get established, and start making a career. We see a lot of guys that they don't give up until their body's completely shot, and then they're too old to learn how to do anything else.
They're sticking up the
We knew
range.
guys that were forklift drivers and stuff like that. They didn't know how to do anything else. So I look at that, you know, I'm in life, I'm right where I need to be, and I'm very happy for that. You know, it just wasn't meant to be for me. Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I love to see all of us kind of prospering as older folks, you know. I feel like we're still in our prime.
We are, absolutely.
I don't think nobody's
I love sitting there
we
talking about how
survived.
great we used to be.
I still don't know many men's going to walk up here and slap somebody in this room.
Speaking of which, that's when Donnie Green got brought back right there.
Yeah.
That's Lord Crew
There's
that's
Lord
laying
Crew.
down.
I hadn't worked in 2 years.
Man, he's really doing well for himself.
Yeah, man, he's doing really
Yeah,
good.
he's doing really good. I'm very happy
Whenever
to
Just
see
did
that.
that little tour over in Japan, man. I was proud of it.
Whenever I ran KCW, I dealt with Bill Behrens,
Yeah.
and I had booked Abyss, and
Because Bill was his booking agent.
he was TNA. He was
yeah.
booking TNA back then, and I went through Bill Behrens, and well, that weekend, Abyss come down, and he was like, "Bro, what in the fuck did you go through him for?" He was like, "You should have just came see me." I was like,
Bill's a great
it was
guy,
after the
man.
fact. I'd already paid, and he was like, "Next time," he said, "just, you know,
Yeah.
buy it cheaper, you know."
Yep.
Just because he was a friend, and they all come over one night. We was going out here in Lexington, and it was back. Hell, I still live with Mom, and she had this ceiling fan on the porch. The porch is like a covered porch, and it was dark. So they get to the house to pick me up. He's like, "Bro, can I come in and use your bathroom, bro?"
Oh no.
I was like, "Yeah, man,
That
sure,
done
man."
well.
So he goes up on the porch and he drills the chandelier that hangs underneath the ceiling fan. Boom! And I never laughed so hard, man. He's like, "Oh, bro." And my mom's sitting there in a little recliner. He walks this fucking 6 foot, 7 foot giant of a man.
Yeah.
Fellas, I hate to cut and run, but
Don't
I
do
gotta
it.
I
Don't
gotta
go.
I gotta go.
Don't do
glad you
this.
stopped
I
there,
got
brother.
things to do. I got a lot of stuff to
You got
do
a tan?
tonight. No, I'll do that tomorrow.
Ah,
Good to see you, brother.
too,
Yeah,
brother.
man. Thanks for stopping out,
I
brother.
couldn't just drive by without coming by.
I'm glad you
and
stopped
seeing
in.
Don't touch those little boys on the way out.
Good seeing you guys. Yes.
Or yourself. Don't touch yourself on the way home.
you touch yourself? What you doing?
Yeah, he's weird.
Always when you
Look at his
drive.
hair.
Wait, video
I
taking
didn't
it,
grow a
right?
stick.
I'm gonna go down to the circus. Are you YouTubing it?
Good luck.
Go down to the circus
Oh.
and pick one up.
Hey, it's now that they have a circus tent there, it's a certified circus now, down that motherfucker.
Is there anything between 96 and 99 that
Yeah.
you find through here?
This
There
is
should
94 here.
Yeah, that's 94.
Yeah, let's look for 96 to 94 or something.
But yeah, fellas, it was great seeing you
Good
guys.
seeing
Y'all
you,
be
brother.
covered out,
Awesome, man. Good seeing you, bro.
Hey,
Fuck you.
Don't go.
I got to.
Man, come on.
And my Mexican done text me. I
he's
gotta
in trouble.
See if your mom and talk to my mom, see if you can spend the night.
go. No, she won't let me.
Don't do it.
I mean, the scalpel match.
Not at all. Not at all. It's one of my favorites.
Was you hooked? Like, oh my God.
Here we go.
You know, you talk about Bill Behrens, and a story that I have of Bill is, as I mentioned, it got to the point that every weekend we were going to, it was USA and it was NWA. It was Burt Prentice's promotion down in Nashville.
Yeah, I worked it.
You worked down there, yeah, and we made it through there through Georgetown.
I didn't do the gimmick. I worked it. You do the gimmick,
I
bro?
know.
Oh, okay.
No, as a matter of fact, at one point,
Yo, for quiet over, man.
Burt said that he had more heat with me than anybody since Jerry Lawler, right? So, well, no, it's not that story, but Burt was good at working this gimmick of saying you'd work on Friday, and if you had a Saturday shot, he'd say, "Hey, I'll just get you tomorrow," right? So you weren't getting 2 times your pay. Right. He was skimming, so he would want to pay you on Saturday and then shorten it to make you feel like you were getting more because you're getting a 2-day. So he tried that stuff one night, and it was me and Justice. We were in Nashville, and back in those days, man, we worked to make money, and that got us to the next town, that got us to the hotel, and that got us on the road. And so we worked Nashville Fairgrounds on a Friday night, and Bert's like, "Hey, man," he goes, "Let me get you tomorrow. I'll get you guys tomorrow." I'm like, okay. And I think Chris Harris was on that show too, but Chris was staying in Nashville. Justice and I were going to go to Wildside in Georgia. But that Saturday afternoon, we did a show at a parking or at a car lot on the Saturday afternoon. Well, they put Justice and I on first because we had to get down to Atlanta. And so we did. Justice and I worked in this car lot. And then we get out, and then we're like, hey, man, where's Bert? We got to get paid. We got to go. Oh, Bert's left. He's gone. Okay, well, where is he? Because we need some money, right? So Bart Sawyer was Bert's right-hand man. Bart Sawyer, he was been a tag team partner with Flex Cavana, The Rock, down in Memphis. Hey, Bart, we got to get paid, brother. Like, we got to get to the next town. We need some money. And he goes, sorry, man, Bert's gone. Like, no, dude, you need to come up with some money because we got to go, right? Yeah. Let me see what I can do. He's gone for about 10, 15 minutes, and he comes back, and he hands us 6 crisp $2 bills. This is all I got. Who carries $2 bills crisp, right? He had rolled some old lady's house or something. It was just totally sketchy, right? It's like, well, we'll take it. We got it. There's no money anywhere else. Nope, that's it. Everybody else is getting paid tonight because they had another show in Nashville. So Justice and I hit the road, man. We're like, what are we going to do? We can eat or what? And we did the pump and go, man. We had to fill the tank up. I jumped in the car, and he took off down the highway, man. That's what you had to do to get to the next town. And we made it to Atlanta, and we told Bill the whole story, and he was like, man, I can't believe it because he had dealt with Bert. Those that know Bert, man, he was, God rest his soul. He got a lot of people, jobs and scene and stuff like that, but he would take advantage of you if he could. Oh, and so after that, man, he kept trying to do it, and I'm like, no, I need my money tonight. Justice and those guys are like, all right, well, I'll wait till tomorrow. I'm like, no, I need my money tonight, man. And that was life on the road. You had to do what you had to do to get to the next town, man.
I was going every other week to Nashville to TV taping.
Yeah.
Asylum and the Stadium Inn for Bert. And I was taking, I ain't his name, but a younger kid with me. Yeah. Good looking kid.
Okay.
I'm a big burly dude.
Yep.
And he's trying the gimmick, and the kid's like, no. I mean, we'd probably been there now 6 months, 7 months.
Okay.
Coming every week.
Yeah.
And he's, trying to do the deal, and the kid's like, no. And so he reached out that last time, and I caught his wrist. Because this kid's with me, and he's a kid. He's under 21.
Taking care of him.
Yeah. He said, no, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had 2 big dudes with him all the time, and I said, what?
Yep.
Yep. Whatever, whatever comes from here. And he just rolled his eyes and walked off, and then we didn't get the call back. But I still good with my decision.
Right, sure.
Because, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I mean because you had gone down that road, and the mental anguish that you suffered when Bert did that to you, you didn't want to see.
He was gentle.
You suppressed it. You suppressed it over those years, man.
At first, he was gentle.
He was gentle, but I didn't get the TV. I didn't get on TV though.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was the one thing. That's how we ended up getting jobs for WCW was through Bert. So, and then it all came through Georgetown because Harris and I, we were a tag team for a while when we were wrestling Vic the Bruiser and Corey Williams.
Yeah.
And Corey was booking Corey, some talent for Nashville.
But Corey up there. I worked.
Did you? Corey's he's a great talent, man. Super good talent.
I got on TV from Nashville. The only one that I can find online is me and somebody against Corey and his partner.
Was it Ashley, the Australian guy?
No, he was a black dude too.
Okay, so when the top tag team down in Nashville at that time was Corey Williams and Ashley Hudson. He was from Australia and New Zealand. And they had gone through everybody, and we had worked with Corey and Vic several times in Georgetown. And I got a call, and, hey, Corey wants to know if you can come down and work in Nashville, you and Chris. And that's how we ended up getting our foot in the door, and that's how everybody else started making their way down. But it came through MWA in Georgetown, man. So, yeah, it was cool that we had our
great experience.
Absolutely, it was.
That moment, and the thing was, they loved me down there.
Yeah.
They come down there and did the job.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest compliment I got was from, I don't know, it was one of the guys that ended up being one of the TNA guys.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe the announcer or something, but he said, I'd never seen...
Borash?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But he said, I'd never seen someone go out knowing they're going to do the job, but still command the ring the way you do.
Yeah.
Like, you know you're going under, you know you're putting them over big, but you still dominate the ring
Mhm.
until that moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, it's a job.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
that was instilled in me that, you guys are doing me a favor by letting me come.
Right.
So another guy we knew that made it, and they wanted him to do certain things, and he didn't want to do it, and now he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And my thing was, I walked in and they said, "Hey, you need to go clean the toilets for a week. Where's the mop? Where's
Right.
the bucket?"
Right.
'cause
Absolutely.
That was my dream to be
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
there. And when he done that, I was just like, "Why would you?" And,
Yeah. It's
you
pretty
know,
sad, but
Young
yeah.
kids today when they run stand.
because that when I first started, we emptied piss buckets. I mean, that's it. Like you were a trainee.
Yeah.
There was no pisser. Everybody
Yep.
pissed in the bucket. Somebody had to empty it. I mean, that was just earning your dues. That was, it
Yep.
was just the way.
We just ran the ropes.
I would say we were fortunate. We actually,
my brother.
there at that time we were training, and I mean we were partying hard. There were times that Ainge and I would be crisscrossing, and then all of a sudden he would slide out, and he would go, and I'd keep running. He would go in the bathroom, throw up, and slide right back in. We wouldn't miss a beat, and that's when we were training at Bone Crushers.
And listen for the ropes to hit.
Yeah.
So the only way you could do it is one had to stay in and hit the
Yeah,
ropes, and the
and
other
keep
one would
going.
slide out.
Yeah.
Slide back in, hit, and Rob would slide out, go do it again.
Smart strategy.
Yeah.
I told the same thing last week. My first training session, he tried to make me quit. So he did the deal.
Was it
and
Danny?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he had that old wood ring. Remember that old wood ring? Because he had sold the MWA ring
Okay.
with MWA.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
he got in a hold of somebody to make him a wood ring.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was all wood.
Stiff. Wow.
Stiff.
Wow.
Man.
So, and I didn't know this at the time.
You didn't know any different.
He did the gimmick where you get on all fours and you take the bump over.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it, and I nailed it on the first time. He goes, "Okay, give me 200." Bro, I did 200.
Did you really?
I did 200 and came back the next week.
Good for you, man.
And that's why
awesome.
I got the put. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
why I got
he
the
knew.
put.
He knew.
I knew he was trying to make me quit.
Absolutely.
And I've got too much ignorant in me to be
Yeah.
like, no.
We
you're
got
not making me
Paige
quit.
Jones tuned in. That's Larry D's
Yeah,
wife.
Larry D's woman. No, she's her own person now. She got her own
Yep.
career. Like
Oh,
she
really?
Got her own,
Nice.
Yeah, she's working
Nice.
and doing her own thing now. So she's Paige Jones. She ain't
And
Larry's
she's
woman no
also
more.
teaming
She
with
got her own.
Lexi Green.
She's her own personality.
There you go.
And she teams with Lexi Green now.
But I wouldn't have it any other way
100%.
because
100%.
he wanted to make sure I wanted it,
Absolutely,
and I wanted it more
absolutely.
than anything in life.
Yep.
Heck,
It-
it was just me and you training
For a long
hours.
time. For a long time.
Constantly.
There were a couple guys who started training at Bone Crushers before we did, but they never finished. We were the first ones to
Right.
make it all the way through. And Justice, he had done some training, I think, in Atlanta. So when he came up, Roger finished his training.
He just got polished.
Yeah, polished him up. Chris had gone to Charlie Fulton up in Columbus or wherever,
They
and
helped us a
Roger did that. So, but we were Roger's very first students from that actually completed the whole school.
Yep.
Right there's the best female manager.
Absolutely,
I don't care
Patty.
who you think.
God, she was the
yeah.
best.
She was the best.
Patty was tuning in recently. She was actually
Patty's
on
the
there
best.
last night too.
Oh, no
Best
kidding.
female manager.
Man,
that
she
I've
was
ever-
she was so awesome. She was a sweetheart. She knew how to get a lot of heat.
Yeah.
She kept her composure.
And
She
didn't
cared.
she didn't take away from the match.
No,
That's right.
no.
She got her heat.
That's
and didn't
right. Yep.
take away from the match.
Yep.
And a lot of people get lost in that.
Yeah, they do.
And want to get their own heat, not thinking
Oh,
that
it's Bobby
your
Bloody.
work is
Yeah.
over.
I think the combination of her when she managed Justice, I just thought was
man, that was-
phenomenal.
that was
It was
good.
fun. That was a
That's the
pairing
first
made in
time I
heaven.
saw
Man.
it.
Was it
I
really?
was in the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the first time I saw her come out with Justice.
Yeah, I mean, when that time that I said we went to Georgetown and sat in the crowd, she was out there getting heat. And I thought, man, she really has a good handle for it. She had a good head for the business.
Right.
She sure did.
Yeah, look at Bobby. He got the moves, man.
He got that
Man.
rock star mentality
look at
right
him.
there.
He's got that stiff mullet.
Yeah, he
He
does.
does. He does.
He wished he had that mullet. He looked like
He
It's a
wished
reverse
that
mullet
that
now,
side
they have
could
it
have
down
been
here.
seen on
His
there.
beard.
Yeah, his beard's big.
Bobby was a student of the game for sure.
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
He was. And I think I didn't even realize, but I think he recorded everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, all this
Oh,
stuff, all this stuff
Yeah.
that's on
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah.
he's the one that's put it all on there.
Well,
It's
he'll
amazing.
also call the guys because, like, he called me and say, "Hey, man, let me get all your DVDs,
Oh, really?
and I'm gonna put them all." So I
Oh, he
give them to him for
digitized
a
them?
week. He done them and give them back to me. He copied them, give them back. So
That's so
he's
cool.
reaching out to guys and getting their take.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Together. No,
And he's
Blade
putting them all on
here's
here
the
so
thing, he's
people
just
can
like
watch
the rest of
them.
He just loves wrestling.
Yeah, he does.
That's
He
it.
does.
But there's no wrestling no more.
No,
to me.
no,
I
it's
can't-
sports entertainment now.
I'll watch pay-per-views with the
Yep.
boys or
Yep.
something, but
Yep.
outside of that,
Yep.
I can't. I just can't do it. I can call it as it's going on and be
Yep.
like, okay, that person's going over because they've got none
Yep.
of the match,
Yep.
so they're going over.
Yep.
And they make it too
And-
predictable.
and-
But you
so
watch through
predictable.
a different lens after
Right,
you've been
right,
in
right.
it. You watch it more as
And Fargo
how
told
are
me
they
that.
doing
he said,
it?
You'll
Yes,
never be a fan again.
it,
He
it,
told
it
me
kills
that.
it. So you're watching it like how are they booking? How's the storyline? It's a completely different perspective.
That Farmer
Man, I can
John?
smell him
That's
from here.
old nut house.
I can,
Yep.
I can smell him from here.
Farmer John?
Yeah, he was right.
Who Nuthouse?
Me and Al's first tag match was against Nuthouse and Firehouse. So you
Wow.
can just
Okay.
imagine how that went.
Yeah.
On the hill in Nicholasville.
Yeah. Not mad. I
Wasn't
wasn't
that an
there.
outhouse too?
I don't know, but he smelled like one.
Nuthouse, outhouse.
Man, it smelled so bad, bro. Like that I hated that worse than anything. I actually puked in a match. I was working Ledoux. Remember the big
Mm-hmm.
and dude, that dude's legs do my head, but man, you know I did.
Yep. Yep.
And I hit, and I came up, and you can watch me on tape. I rode. You remember Sterling? Well, it's not there, but they had on one side of the ring they had the stage. There's a little gap, man. I crawled. Here I'm up. He's selling. I'm crawling and puking in the fucking between the ring and the stage. He smelled that bad, bro. And I told him when I came back, I said, I'm never working him again, ever.
Damn.
Like,
Damn.
he would just pull his shit out of his bag and it'd be all wadded up, like it was in there from the last week.
Oh.
And I mean, some guys smell bad.
Yeah.
Straight shoot. A lot of the fuckers on TV smelled bad because they didn't wash their shit.
Yep. Yep.
They didn't all them
Yep.
guys when I went to do the TNA shit. All them guys that were on TV, all their shit stank
Yeah.
because they're doing so many shows. They
Yeah.
don't have time to wash
Not
it. They're
time
just
to
throwing it
wash.
back.
Yeah.
You're like, man, bro, like you got to sink. Like,
gotta
bring
sink.
that son of a bitch out.
Absolutely. You got to sink. Yeah.
Jay
that's something you have to
Donaldson
do.
was bad, man. His gear was
Man.
awful, dude.
Jay's a good
Sam,
kid.
bro.
Oh, he's awesome. Love
No,
his dad.
you reminded me. You should have told me that. So, Sam was the ambassador. Sam was the dad and pop.
He
like
was.
you said.
Yes. Yeah.
So, we had that issue when we first come to Georgetown. He's not Justin, he's just Justin. He's just the instigator. So he pulls Sam aside and he's like, Sam, bro, like, you got to speak with Jay, man. Sam put some deal, So, we're thinking, this is the first. So we're thinking, Sam's gonna pull him to the side. Bro, Jay hits the door, Sam meets him face to face. It's like, some of the boys are complaining. You got to put some deodorant on them motherfuckers. Like Sam, we're thinking it's gonna be all incognito. Sam, so we're all got our heads down, like, damn, Sam, like you just called us all out for complaining, And Sam met him, and that's the way he was.
I think X has a comment over there about somebody's gear.
Yep.
Oh,
It was an
what-
X. He said Justice's beard was white
We didn't want to
sometimes.
say it, X.
No, we didn't want to say that.
wanna say
Yeah,
He smelled like blueberries.
man.
Patty also said, "Love seeing Angel and Rob the Bomb. Miss you guys like crazy."
Thanks,
you,
Patty.
Steve.
We miss you. We love you. Hope
Best-
everything's going
best
well,
boy.
man. Thank you so much.
That's what it's all
Yeah,
about.
thanks for all the great memories.
Yeah, we're watching it on the TV right now.
Yep.
That's another one you could have next week with your mouthpieces right
Yeah.
there. Patty,
Yeah,
I mean,
Patty, you have an open invite to come next week to the mouthpieces of MWA.
So we were, as we said, we went down and we were working under Fargo, and then Fargo decided to get out of it, and then he sold the promotion to Dirty Chris,
Right.
and then Dirty Chris stepped up, man, and he did a phenomenal job, and then he started coming up to the NWF and working. He became, he was one of us. He was one of the boys up there, and then he invited Roger down to come and start booking down in Georgetown, and man, the whole production level just really stepped up at that point, and. It was a phenomenal synergy between the two, man. When you married that MWA and that NWF, there was something special there, man. And so at what point, Bear, did you make the transition from MWA and start going to NWF and kind of getting blended in up there?
Man, probably Madison.
Oh, they were the Madison Theater by that point.
Theater, man.
Yeah.
when I went up there, it was a nice change.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I like.
I didn't mind the bam, 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 spot,
Yeah.
spot, spot,
Yeah.
spot.
Was down here.
But
Yeah.
Coming
I
down here
threw
was a nice
that.
change.
Fresh
I
air.
threw that element that I brought.
Yep.
And there were times that because they didn't really have security till we got there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't need it.
Right.
So then
Right.
there were times, you know, I don't know if y'all ever worked the Madison.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
walk down the stairs and walk through the whole bar. Dude, they blocked the whole deal. I couldn't get to the ring.
Yeah. No kidding.
Like, because they had so much heat.
Yeah,
because
that's
I
great.
get the heat. But then they taught me so much on the spot monkey, you know, because I'd never done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so without that, I would have never made it in Nashville. Because Nashville was a 5-minute match.
Yep.
And it was no rest.
Right. Right.
Spot
Right.
from top to bottom, and you had to be hot because you're
Yep.
on TV.
Yep.
And
And that
without
time's valuable, so you got to get it in. Yeah.
without
Yep.
NWF, that would have never happened
Yeah.
for me because I would never had that work.
Absolutely.
You know, working
Absolutely.
those guys that because that's the way they all work.
Yeah.
Outside, of, like I said, you guys are kind of a hybrid. You
Yep.
know, the generation before, but that next generation, Taxi, all those guys,
Yeah.
they were spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Taxi's the only heat I ever seen him get was shut up.
Yeah.
You know, he did a spot
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he got it on the ring. He'd cheat in the ring or do whatever.
And he actually came from Les Thatcher and HWA, so he had spent most of his career there, and then
Yeah.
he came to the NWF later.
Yeah.
Once he saw some like Suicide and some of the other guys come to NWF and see how many shows we were doing and how many fans we were packing
Right.
in, he wanted
were
to be
getting
on
paid.
there. Absolutely, yeah. So
I think when I was going, man, I can't even think of who the biggest heel was. Like they didn't have a big
yeah.
heel. All their big guys were. I mean, even Taxi wasn't a heel or baby. Like none of the,
Justice was in and out at that time.
yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
there. No, he was
Yes.
gone. All
Okay,
you
okay,
guys were
okay,
gone, bro.
okay.
I promise you, all you guys were gone because
Yeah.
I never remember this. I'll never forget this. I go in. I'm sitting in the locker room. This one time I went by myself, and it wasn't Madison. It was Fairfield.
Okay.
So I go to Fairfield, and it's all second generations. None of the
Yep.
boys.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there, and there's this chick that's working, and she comes back there, and she just changes in front of everybody. And I'm like,
It's not proper.
what's going on here? Like, you know, and the boys, they're like, oh, it's no big deal. And I'm like,
Because they were afraid of her.
right.
Yep.
So I'm like, she's not around the right boys.
Right.
Like, that would not have happened. Like,
We wouldn't have let it happen either.
we wouldn't have let it happen, but it
we were
wouldn't
still
have-
old school.
She
that
wouldn't have
you
felt
do
that comfortable.
Yes.
She wouldn't have felt that comfortable.
Yeah,
I promise you. She wouldn't have felt that comfortable
Yeah.
in our locker room.
She's
to
no
get
Sherry,
naked.
Sherry
She
Martell,
felt-
that's for sure.
She felt comfortable enough to get naked because she
Well,
knew these dudes
with
were
that,
looking
yeah.
at their phones or
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Right. Right.
But you know, I'm here like,
yeah.
Yeah.
ain't nobody gonna do nothing. Like, ain't nobody gonna go up like, you know. So then I knew,
This is a
like,
locker room of soy boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
then
Yes.
I knew this is,
It's
you
different.
know, this
yeah.
is not
yeah,
Yeah.
what it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
It was just the gall that she had to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and because there's no way. I mean, it'd have been like a steak in front of 10 wolves. You know what I'm saying? It
I
wasn't
don't
that
know what
way.
you're saying, Bear.
Yeah, you lie. anyway.
I don't know what you're
Okay,
saying.
used to be they had them in separate dressing rooms.
And yes,
Yeah.
but the deal was like these guys were, like I said, when I would go to
On their
Soft.
bones.
when I would
on their
go
games.
to Memphis
Mhm.
at Rupp Arena
Yep.
every one Thursday a month or two,
Something
every
like
other.
that. Yeah.
When I looked in the ring, I was scared to death. I would not want to meet one of those guys
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
Absolutely.
When,
Now you can look at-
when we were working, the people in the crowd didn't want to meet one of us in the
Right.
parking lot.
Right.
Now
That's right.
people are watching shows like I can whoop his ass.
I say
Yeah.
the same
I can
thing.
whoop his
I say the
ass.
same
I can whoop
thing.
his ass.
Hey,
There's no tough guys.
There's
There-
not.
I'm not
There's
saying
not.
there's none. There's probably a few tough guys that's filtered in,
Yeah.
but the majority, like when people are entertained by a dude with his hands in his pocket,
Yep.
tapping
yep,
a dude on the
yep.
leg, like
Not a fan.
you're easily
Not a
entertained,
fan,
son
man.
of a bitch, and that's
That's
not
an insult
wrestling.
to the business.
Be
It's
money.
not wrestling.
Your son literally says,
If he-
I look at them today, now I think I could take anyone on that show.
Right.
Yeah,
He
I
would've
mean,
done something like that to me.
Oh, right in the
He would have
jaw.
went in the shower.
Right,
It would have never came out.
right. I mean, it was just you just watch this and you're like, there's no buy-in anymore.
No,
That was
no.
the thing. So so then another philosophy I got, we believed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We believed wholeheartedly.
Yep.
Then there was that moment of internet where, it kind of drifted away, but then Stone Cold came.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
made it fun to
Yep.
believe again.
Yep.
Because he was a redneck.
And you
he
believed
drank
he could kick
beer,
somebody's ass.
And you
Yes.
believed he could kick
And he
somebody's
was
ass.
actually
So
throwing potatoes. That was
Yep.
actually
didn't
happening.
Everybody
Fully-
hated their boss.
you
Yep.
didn't fully
Yeah.
believe,
Yep.
but you lost
Yes.
yourself in that
Yep.
moment
You
again.
suspended your disbelief.
Right.
Yes.
In that moment. There's none of that.
Yep.
There's not one person I
Yeah.
look at and I'm like, man, that's great.
Yep.
Outside
Exactly.
of Randy Orton, there's just nobody
There's
left.
somebody there you think, man, that guy can really kick somebody's ass.
Right.
I mean, I think you guys grew up more with Mid South. Am I right with,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that?
yeah,
See,
yes.
it didn't make
Memphis.
its way up in Cincy, where we were from. But Jim Crockett Promotions was
Right.
what I loved, man. That was my favorite. And
Yes.
you had guys like
Magnum,
Magnum
too.
and,
Yeah.
and
Related more. You
Garvin.
You
related more to him.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, dude, those guys would whip somebody's ass,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want
And,
to see him in a dark alley.
You would not want to see them in a
I mean,
dark
Vader,
alley,
could
man.
you imagine
Yes.
being a kid and walking up to Vader
Right.
with that mask on?
Right.
You'd be scared.
Right.
I mean,
Shoot
look at
yourself.
Bruiser Brody.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
I
bro.
mean,
Joe
Brody,
Lou.
definitely.
Joe LeDuc.
You know those
Would
guys could
cross
kick
him.
somebody's ass, right?
Yes.
So, and if you saw them at the airport, you saw them at a bar.
Yeah.
If you weren't a wrestling fan, you're like,
Right.
those guys are somebody,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Now
Right.
today,
Nah.
they look like college kids,
Yeah, when
man.
them guys got my
Yeah.
face, I smack piss out of
They
them.
don't-
Like, I
it-
wouldn't be afraid to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I might get my ass whooped, but I'll try it.
Yeah, I mean it's a spot monkey thing. They can run all those spots and high fly. And
So-
they're better athletes than any of us
Oh,
were,
right.
or those Jim Crockett or Mid South
They're
guys.
not like
the
the
workers.
storyteller.
Right.
And
They're
that's
not
what,
the workers.
That's what the
Right.
people want.
Yes,
So-
that's what they want now.
So now, when wrestling's coming to town, it's like the circus is coming
It
to
is.
town.
Yeah.
It's a
Barnum and
spectacle.
Bailey.
It's a
Yeah.
show.
Gymnastics.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah.
They're going to do gymnastics.
Yep.
They're going to do this.
Yep.
Nobody is worried about somebody dying.
Nope.
Right.
Like, I remember
Yep.
my brother, Daddy, Jared, the king's bleeding.
Yeah.
The king's bleeding. Get
Yep.
down there and help him. He's going to die.
Yep.
Like, as kids,
Or
like,
when Andy Kaufman got piled
yeah,
dry,
oh,
that
you
Yeah.
was
thought
his
he was
name.
dead.
Yeah, yeah.
You thought he was dead.
Yeah, now you're going there and you're watching a Cirque du Soleil show.
Right.
You're watching acrobats and that.
And
But-
it sucks because it's taking away what you should be enjoying.
Right,
Yeah.
but so many people now are just glued to their phones,
Right.
and if you're not doing that, then they're going to start flipping through Twitter or something like that
And that
because
sucks.
nobody has any attention span anymore, and it sucks.
Unless you,
But man,
you can find a small town.
yep,
That's the only
Yep.
shot of real wrestling
Yep.
has is to find very small towns.
That's
run
where I
very
wanna be.
small shows, 250, 500 people.
Yep.
Run those shows if you want to be a true wrestling
Right,
show.
sure.
And I'm
Well-
not saying what they're doing is not right. I'm just saying it's not the
Yeah.
same.
Right.
Real quick, Reddy X wants to say to y'all, Cat and Justice came down first. How did you guys get the MWA?
how did we get there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We talked about it at the beginning of the show because Ivory Nichols was coming down working with those guys, and then Ivory brought Chris Justice and Chris Harris down, and then those guys started working down there, and then they brought Ainge and I down. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we actually bought tickets and we sat on opposite sides because we didn't want people to see us there together if we were going to eventually be working there. And then Danny came out and introduced himself and started telling us all the names who had passed through Georgetown and MWA. And man, we were just in awe. My eyes are like as big as saucers. Like, this is where I need to be. And Danny's like, well, if you want, you all come down next week and bring your stuff, and I'll try to get you on the show.
We were doing that little thing called kayfabe.
Yes,
Right,
yes,
right.
yes.
That's
Yes.
what wrestling
Yeah.
needs.
That's
today.
what happened
Well,
to
it's
professional
all right.
wrestling.
It's-
It took a shit
Yeah.
when people stopped kayfabe.
Right.
No-
Yep.
Nobody told us to do that. Nobody
just
told
done
us.
it,
We
right.
just did it because
Hey, Bear. Al's here. He's just tuned in.
Fuck Al.
Fuck yeah. So it's the end. It's 10.
Yep.
So here's the deal. Here's a good one. Here's a good question, and we'll go around the room, and I'll go last. Who's somebody, and we're not saying this in a bad way, but you don't feel like got their push or lived to their potential. You know what I mean? Like you feel like you look at this person, they could have did so much more than they did, whether it was they were money hungry or they're drug or whatever. Who you got?
Are you talking about like the
Like,
independent scene that we were at, or
that we worked with, or you worked with, that could have made it and just for unseen reasons or whatever just didn't live up to the potential?
That's really hard to say, man. It's really hard to say.
Man, but that's a good question.
Well, I'll go first.
Okay.
Then. I was gonna go last because I got somebody.
Yeah, go
Jim
for-
Chadwick.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
He
Great
could have
guy.
went anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
He could have been on any show
Yeah.
as a manager.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
and he just didn't want to.
Right,
He loved.
right.
I asked him many times. He said, "Man, ECW's called, WWE's called." He said, "This is what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do." And you
Yeah.
know that's cool. But I'm just saying, like, this dude could have. I mean, he could have done anything.
Yep.
With wrestling.
I'm glad
And
you
just chose. It could be
Yeah.
a referee or
Yeah.
anybody.
No, I'm
know,
glad you
just
said it
saying.
because I'm thinking workers.
Yeah, me too.
But
Yeah.
now you say that, I know exactly who it
Rick.
is. It's Rick Toms.
Right.
Yeah, I
Rick
was gonna say
Toms.
that. That's
So,
right when you said
as I
that.
said,
Yeah.
Rick was the greatest announcer
Yeah.
of all time. But for those that don't know, Rick was married, and then his divorce
It was bad.
was bad, and then he became a single father with a little guy.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, a
remember,
little
yeah,
guy,
just
man.
bring 'em.
And he had a couple calls with I think Borash and Jared. They were interested in bringing him down to TNA, and he just couldn't. Right? He was a dad, so his priorities were right in line where they needed to be.
That's right.
But Rick Toms, by far, I think he could have
Yeah.
went
Right.
to the moon, man. He could have been as big as Howard Finkel was in,
Yep.
in his
Oh,
day. Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said Chadwick because
Yeah.
it took my mind off of the workers but Rick without
That was
a
the
shadow of a
first
doubt.
thing that came to my mind.
Was
I
it?
looked at you, you're gonna say it right when you started talking.
Yeah, I would
But
I
yeah,
would say
definitely
Rick Toms,
Rick
man.
Toms.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Same situation for me when
Yeah.
I was going to Burt
Yeah.
before the deal.
Yeah.
He was like, "Man, moved in." So I'm working at school. I got two boys. They live with me.
Yeah.
And I'm working at school.
Yep.
Got insurance. Everything.
Yep.
He's like, "Man, I get you on TNA in 3 weeks. Come
Yep.
down here. I'll put you up in the stadium pay
Yep.
you $200 a week." You know,
Who can live off that?
who
But yeah.
can quit their
Yeah.
job, bring
Yeah.
2 boys to live in a motel
Yep.
that's in diapers?
Yeah. Same.
It just
yeah.
couldn't happen.
Yeah.
And I said I can't.
Yeah.
you
You
know,
did right,
can't. I can
yes,
come down every
yes.
Tuesday. I can come down whenever, but I can't move
Yep.
and dedicate. Just can't because there was no guarantee.
Right.
And what
No
I
guarantee
had
at all.
going on was a guarantee.
Right.
And I'm 2 years out of retirement. You know what I mean? Because I stuck with
You
that.
stuck
you
with
know
it,
what I'm
man.
saying? Like,
You talk about having benefits. When we were doing 5 shots or more a week, we didn't have insurance, right? Because we had quit our shoot job because we were on the road, and yeah, it's exactly it, man. Atlanta, Justice, he used to do a spot where he'd slam me and put a chair on my chest. He'd hit the rope and he would drop on. Well, one time he dropped on the chair and it popped up and it split my chin. Right, so I super glued it. That's what we used to do. We used to
Right.
keep super glue, and man, it kept leaking for like 2 or 3 days. So I remember I wrote down a social security number, memorized it, a fake one, and then I went to the hospital. This was before the computers and all that
Right,
stuff,
right.
man. And you could give them a fake name and then give them a fake security. And I memorized that number because I knew they were going to ask me multiple times.
Yep.
And they stitched me up. I didn't have insurance, and
Right.
well, you know.
Justin did the same thing, and I
Yeah.
can't remember
Yeah,
who told him.
I was with him.
Somebody told him though. One of the old cats told him when you go to the hospital,
Yeah.
give him a fake.
I was with
social
him.
and-
Yes.
No, we were there for
Who
3
told-
hours.
It might
Yes.
have been Chris. It might have been Chris.
He-
Whoever it was told him.
He got cut by a chair in Georgetown against suicide.
Said
Yeah.
give him a fake name, and he got the whole deal. Like he got the whole
Yeah.
everything fixed
Yep.
for
Yep.
But like
That's
you
what
said,
you
no
had to do,
internet,
man.
no,
It wasn't any internet. It was a good old days, man.
That's right.
It was the good old days, man. But,
I like to do this
Great guy,
again.
man.
Have y'all for part 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to
Yeah.
come down and do it again,
Good show
man.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been
Good show.
hell of a show. Good stories.
You kicking us out?
No, it's at that end of the time.
Oh, we're
come
over,
on,
actually.
Dude.
We can
We're
go all
over.
night.
Always
But
been
you know
over,
what?
brother.
So
I know.
when we come back next time, I'll tell the story about Angel and the Lemon.
Oh.
That'll give you something to
Dun,
look forward
dun,
to.
dun.
Angel and
Yeah.
the Lemon. To be continued.
See, you're so old school.
We gotta get y'all in with Bobby Clay as well.
We are
That's called a
talking.
worker.
We are talking so much shit right now because it's past all our fucking bedtime.
You're right.
And
You're
y'all
right.
still got an hour to drive before you can go to bed.
If I would have my smartwatch on, it would say it's bedtime.
And also, we got
a half hour ago.
It
could
ain't
do
like the
Bob
old days,
Blaze in with
boys. I
y'all.
wish it was.
It ain't.
We'd be going out.
We were
Normally
known as the
going out.
4 a.m.
So
club
now
back in
we're
our day.
thinking like White Castle and home
Yes.
or some shit, you know, like.
No, I can't even do White Castle
No,
anymore.
just home.
I'll pay for it later.
Just, you know,
But yeah, guys,
Yeah.
this has been NWA Legends Night 2. Who wants to say their goodbyes first?
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the MWA fans, all the MWA wrestlers, and all the talent that came through. We wouldn't have had the career we had without you. All the fans, love you, appreciate you, and all your support over the years. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back for a part 2. And
Oh, Misha just chimed in. Good old Slick Rick. Shout out to Misha.
hey, who was it? Misha?
This is Misha Marie. Anybody know her?
Oh yeah, that's right.
uh-oh.
That's
Bitch,
Mrs.
dude.
I'm in trouble.
Mrs. Squatch. Mrs. Squatch is tuning
That
in.
last story. That
Right, she heard the
Great
last
time to pull
story.
the plug.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take it home.
And Donna Green says, safe travels, fellas.
Thanks, brother.
See you,
Thank you
brother.
so
And I
much.
got one
Appreciate
thing
you.
to say.
Love you, Misha.
We love you, Misha, but I got another thing to say. It's always fuck Al, first and foremost,
And Donnie Green.
and Donnie Green, and his fucking tan.
And his
George Clooney.
come over, and his come
Yeah.
over.
George Clooney.
That's
No,
right.
but, great shows, man. This whole month and last month, dude. The names that just come through here, dude, it's been phenomenal.
Thanks for having us.
And
Yes,
I
thank
mean,
you.
you know, you guys, my brothers, I love you guys.
Love you, bro.
I hate that it's been so long, you know. And I was just talking to Angel about that. Like, it's not going to be a funeral. We gotta figure it out, you know.
That's
and
when you know
Chris
it's.
and everybody, because that's when we see
Yeah.
them. We see each other at a funeral. Like, oh, we ain't gonna do that. We gonna blah blah blah. Let's quit talking about it and make it happen. you
That's
know?
the thing with the wrestling business and the brotherhood, man. You may not see each other for 20 years, but when you do, it's
Oh,
like you
my
never
God, like
miss a beat,
yesterday.
man. Absolutely.
Like yesterday.
Absolutely.
Like me and Rob have been riding
Yep.
Angel all day together. Like, we're just
Jack-
talking shit
Jack
about,
Links,
And
yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
have to
And we're sending memes and shit. And Angel has no clue.
No.
He thinks he's going to be his buddy. And we've been talking shit about him all day long.
We were sending Jack Links memes to each other all day, man.
be on the lookout for part 2, guys.
Messing with Sasquatch, part 2.
Part 2.